just setting itself through.
I haven't got to narrate or present tonight. This is weird.
I know. It's odd, isn't it? It's first time for everything. Right, let's just get into a couple of the viewers and see what happens there. Oh, well, it's nice to know that it's telling me that we're going live. I'm like, yeah.
And we are live.
We are live, everybody. Hello, Truth Beyond Paranormal viewers tonight. Thank you for the first 2 viewers. Lovely to see you. Come in and say hello to us. And if you haven't already, just make sure that you register yourself so then we know who you are, please. That would be brilliant. Hi, Nicola. There is a little link that is in our description, which allows you to be able to make yourself known to us, because otherwise you just come up as Facebook user, which is a bit weird. But we are here now with the lovely Evelyn here and our presenter, Wayne Sedan, who, of course, as you all know already, but I'll say it again, is the author of the Spookanori series of books as well. So if you want to figure out anything about that, just go and ask him after this live feed. And I will also plug Haunted Roses Essex Paranormal. I'm going to get it right this time for the 18th time. That would be lovely. Which Ellen and Wayne are part of as well. They run that side of the TBP arm for the event side for the public. So
with a military arm.
Can you imagine? Well, you could be the military arm. You know, you are going back in the RAF after all, mate. So that could be a thing. You never know. So
evening, Dan.
Evening, everybody. It's lovely to have all of you here with us, and thank you for the 14 views. We are very appreciative. Hello to the 2 Facebook users. I don't know who you are, and I'm very sorry. Please, could you write your name after your comments if you're not going to register your name, just so then I don't look like an idiot.
We have Katie, Bianca, Louise, Dan Litchfield, Nicola Hurrell.
Katie Lou.
I think Katie's done it. Do you want to check?
Yep, Kate. Well, Katie's on there.
Thank you very much, Katie Lou. Yep. We can see you. Yay! This is a good day for me when I have a few people that I can actually see. So yeah, like I said, if you don't want to register your name, you don't have to, but please just make sure that you put your name at the end of your comment, so I'm not just calling you Facebook user. But
it just helps us help you.
Exactly. And now we've gone down to 10 viewers, so those people obviously didn't want that, so that went well.
They could be trying to figure out how to do it, so they'll probably come back on again in a minute.
You might remember Katie from was it Rotham Control Tower?
Yeah, Rotham.
Oh yes, I do. Hi, Katie from Rotham Control Tower episode.
and Harwich Redoubt 4.
And Harwich. Yep, there you go. Oh, you said it wrong and I said it right this time.
I called you out. I did it on purpose.
Beverly, hi Sam, you are so eloquent in your introduction and all. I could listen to you all day. Bev Sanders. Oh, thank you.
Evening, Bev.
Oh, thank you so much, Bev. That's so nice of you to say that. Now I feel bashful and weird.
Weird?
So,
your American accent came through then.
It did, didn't it? Yay, we're back up to 10 viewers. Thank you, everybody, so far. Reg is watching with me. Thank you, Lou. That's amazing to hear. I'm so happy that Reg and you and Lou are watching. And just you. We're just going to wait for Ellen to come back, and then I will start with the actual live.
Yeah, I mean, Freddie's just got himself into a bit of mischief, so.
Okay. Yeah, no.
I'm going to sit him down.
We're going to let Ellen settle down Freddie first before we do properly, guys. So Dan said shared but got to run, guys. Well, that was quick. That was possibly.
Yeah, that's because Dan's watching Justice League. Yes, Bianca, we can see you now.
Hey, Bianca. It's lovely to see you. Thank you so much for joining our live tonight. It's great. Yes, we can see you, so that is brilliant. Just letting you know, by the way, Wayne, that Bianca is actually part of my new film that I'm making as well with my team. So it's nice to have one of the actresses, our lead actress, coming in here.
One of the things. That's one of the next projects we're going to have to do for Spooky Nori.
Exactly. Spooky has to have a series of horror, really, really cool horror films. That would be awesome. Like mini short horror films. Hi, another Facebook user. We've got 10 people live with us right now, so that's really cool, guys. Thank you so much. Share it out as much as you possibly can as well, guys, so that we can get some more views coming through. That would be amazing. Even if you share it just to your normal Facebook pages, it's good enough for us. So we are going to start our night with a couple of questions to these amazing guys that we've got here. These amazing guys we've got here. That was not very eloquent of me. Here's Bev going, that was eloquent, and I'm like, no, really, it wasn't.
Yeah, just wait, Beverly. You know, she'll soon mess up somewhere along the line.
Exactly. Like if the last meet the bloody team thing was anything to go by, I mean, wow, that ending was just the best thing I think I've ever done. To be fair, that was just absolute fail on my part. Hey, Mick. It's nice to have another new team member that's going to be joining us on our next episode. Mick is here with us tonight. So thank you, Mick, for joining us. I'm really looking forward to having you as part of this team very soon as well. So tonight I'm going to start with a question that is going to be put to Ellen first. I'm sorry, Ellen. She's like, I don't want it.
I'll do it.
So, Ellen, did you have any idea before you got together with Wayne that he was really interested in the paranormal?
No clue whatsoever. I think it was because it took him about 2 weeks to pluck the courage up to actually speak to me.
Which is an episode of This Is Your Life now, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
Yeah.
So,
when was the first time that you started to realise that he was very much into that sort of way of life as well, Ellen?
Well, one of the things I noticed about him was every day when he'd come to pick me up for work, because we did a taxi run, every day he used to come pick me up for work, he was always wearing, and I'm going to swear, I apologise, a most haunted fleece. So that was sort of my first inclination. And then as it got into sort of beginning of October, he come on a school run one day with his most haunted fleece, his hat, and his scarf.
Why did that kill me?
I think that was my first inclination.
I think it was because I was due to go away that weekend, wasn't I? Yeah. With the Most Haunted. So, of course, yeah. So obviously there was already the suspicion there, because I've always worn black anyway. And obviously working with Most Haunted and Most Haunted Experience, you know, it's sort of in a way advertising them. So I would always go out wearing my Most Haunted fleece or my Most Haunted jacket or whatever, to actually advertise the show. And I think it was that weekend I was due to do the Halloween event down at Preston Manor.
Oh, I know Preston. Preston Manor is a really, really good experience. It's a good experience in there. I love it though.
And I was basically doing the morning school run, and then I was going home, grabbing my bags, and I was going straight down to Brighton. So it was literally get up at 6 o'clock in the morning, whatever it was, straight out, do school run, and dive off. And of course, it took a while for Ellen to tweak because Ellen's sitting behind me. So it wasn't until we stopped for coffee and that obviously she sees that I'm wearing the most haunted fleece and that. So it sort of went from there, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So I'm going to now go over to Wayne and ask a similar-ish question. Was Ellen already into all of this sort of stuff when you first knew her as well, or did it sort of come naturally? Did she get a thirst for it more when she was with you?
I introduced you to it, really, didn't I? Because when I first met you, we didn't, like you said, we didn't really talk for about 2 weeks or so, did we? And then we sort of eventually started talking, and you.
I was into it, but not as much as what Wayne was.
My fault.
But then Wayne introduced me to it more, and then one of your events at Harwich come about, and bang, that was it. I experienced my first ever paranormal hangover. I was like, when are we going on the next one? When's the next one?
Yeah, that happens a lot, doesn't it? Whenever people, I know that there's going to be many people that are going to be writing in the comments to say, oh yes, I know what a paranormal hangover feels like. So if you're with us on that, guys, please put a comment below of how your horrible paranormal hangovers feel for you guys, because we get it a lot. So coming off that subject just for a minute and maybe into something a little bit more fun for the viewers here, what location, if any, do you feel you're most anxious?
Bear with me.
Where is she going? She's disappeared. Like a ghost. Like a ghost, she has disappeared. But I can put this to you first anyway, Wayne,
Okay.
while we wait. What location, if any, do you feel you'll get most anxious at, and why? Or is there any location that you'd rather not go back to?
There isn't any locations I wouldn't go back to be honest.
Yeah.
It takes a hell of a lot to frighten me, and I don't walk away from anything unless other people are at risk.
Yeah, or there's other people on site that we don't know about. Like
exactly, like you're saying there. Obviously, with the incident we had at Halstead, we had a member of the public with us, and we had to put their safety first. But normally, if the location is secure, I'll never walk away from anything, and I'll go back to anywhere. I've never really looked at a place and gone, you know, I'm not too sure about this place. I'm not too sure whether I want to go in here. And it stems back to probably my early teens. I've never been afraid of going into somewhere that's derelict, or, you know, the safety side of things, like an old shipyard. In the village where I grew up, we had an old abandoned shipyard, and it would all be ceased trading, and it was all being pulled down. And we would go into the warehouses where half the floorboards were missing, and we would go from one floor up onto the next floor over on the roof, and it would be all unsafe, but we had no fear whatsoever and just did what we wanted to do. So I'm yet to find a place that I'll be a bit, you know, cautious of going into. I'm quite happy to go in most places, so I'm yet to come across one.
Maybe we'll find one. Maybe just one on Truth Beyond Paranormal. Maybe, probably not, but we can try. There's still time.
Evening, Peter.
Yeah, hi, Peter. It's good to. Hey, it is Lingy. It is indeed Lingy. You get the eyebrow action there. So, next one again is going to be for you anyway, Wayne. What has been, 1, your most unexplainable experience, 2, your funniest, and then 3, probably your most boring experience as well to date?
So, my most interesting and my most boring. I think I've got a joint two that are joint first place for most intriguing or most interesting. And the main one, I think, to me, which goes back in the history books as well, is Dunwich. Simply because I had read a lot about the history of Dunwich and what happened to the town in the 1700s. And I'd also read a lot about the hauntings that go on there. And so when we actually got to the location, and I'd been there loads of times during the day because it's got a famous fish and chip shop on the beach there. And
yeah, I remember you saying that.
I took loads of coach trips up there, and during the day, it's a marvelous place to go, just to get some fish and chips. But the history of the things that happened there, paranormal wise, I was so eager to get there and wanted to get out there and actually find stuff. And then when we actually got to the old ruined priory, we were disappointed because not much happened. But then we were completely blown away by what happened on the beach.
Yeah.
And to have someone walk past you that's not there, that freaked us out. And we were like, well, hang on a minute. We all heard footsteps, and you could clearly hear the steps on the film footage. And yet it was a clear night. There was a full moon, and we could see right the way down. The shoreline was only 10 foot away from us. And yet we could see right down to the water. We could see the moon reflecting in the water, and there was nobody walking past. There was no one else.
Very much on camera that night as well.
We estimated that the nearest people to us was about half a mile further down the beach fishing. And that was it. There was nobody else near us. And yet when we packed everything up and we walked down to the shoreline, we found these footprints in the stones that had gone right past where we were sitting. And that was quite freaky. And I'm glad that we're sort of going to go back there, because obviously on a separate night we may have activity in the priory, and again on the beach. But we also had the Nissan huts. Now these Nissan huts was part of a chain low home station, and these two Nissan huts are the only things that are left. They've got no power to them, and yet we were getting readings on the EMF meters that were going off the charts.
Yeah.
And, you know, so to get readings like that, there's got to be something going on. If there's no power in the place, there's got to be something else there. So it was quite an interesting one. And I think the second one will still to date be Harrods Readout 4, with the bizarre flying mannequin. Any of the viewers that haven't heard of this, it was quite an experience which actually forced a member of the paranormal community even to quit the paranormal altogether. And that was with me and another investigator. We were investigating the second cell of 3, and we had a trigger object on the bed, which was like a little boxing ring with red lights in each corner. And you put the ball in the middle. It's a motion detector. And we asked for a spirit to come forward, and if it was with us, to move the ball. But of course, these red flashing lights were flashing. Now, in this room, it's set up as it was during World War II, when they took German pilots prisoner before they were sent off to the POW camps. And it had all the mugs and things on the table, a bed spread out, and there was a mannequin dummy dressed up in German officer or German pilot's uniform. And I was standing in the doorway, and this investigator, Claire, was sitting in the far corner away from it. And as we were doing the investigation, Claire could see the mannequin in the flashing lights. And she said, you know what, every time I see the lights flash, that mannequin is moving. And I just said to her, I said, I can't see it moving, and I'm staring at it, and it wasn't budging an inch as far as I could see. I said, but something is going to happen. I can feel the energy building. And as I said that, this mannequin dummy literally left the floor and came straight at me. I grabbed the dummy by the waist, or more like sort of the chest area to the waist. The head fell off, And Claire just turned around and she went, "Sod that," in that's polite terms. "Sod that, I'm off. I'm not here for this." And she ran out. And one of our team members, Kim, she was in the third cell doing an investigation, and they heard what was going on. And she said, "What's going on? What's going on?" And they turned and they said they could see this white light follow Claire out of the cell, down the corridor and outside. Of course, when they come into the cell, there's me holding the dummy and the head's rolling across the floor. And to me, that's the reason why we do what we do. I was 12 foot away from the dummy. There is no way I could have leaned forward and grabbed it. And for that to happen and be enough to make someone quit the paranormal, you know, that's why we do it. Not to quit the paranormal, but that's the sort of thing we want. And it was more of a shame that we hadn't got a camera running on that, because, you know, that would have been something else. We would probably be opened up to criticism. You know, it's quite possible that they'd go, "Oh, you've got strings involved and someone's outside and they've pulled it," or whatever. So it's a case of it's our word against everybody else's. But when you've got someone that quits the paranormal because of that incident, you know, it could speak differently.
Yeah, I agree. I think there is definitely something very strange in those cells. There's definitely something going on.
I'm sort of, you know, I'm quite happy to go anywhere and experience anything. I'll go into a location. I'm not too keen on having the spell of protection put on me. I have a piece of rose quartz with me for protection if needs be, but I tend not to worry about it because I want to experience these things. And I find that if I have a spell of protection, they're not going to happen to me. So I'm quite happy to be the guinea pig as such.
Yeah, like Wayne is officially our TBP guinea pig, because so far on our team we've got like myself, who is always protected mainly because of the fact that if Lingy is still here, he'll understand why, because him and his other half, bless him, had to help me get rid of some horrible, dark, depressing thing that was around me. And then we've got Mark, who never has anything that happens around him because he's a blocker. And and so, like, basically just Wayne is, so out of all three of us, Wayne is the only one that's ever going to feel anything. So that's great. I mean, I have things that I experience a lot when I'm on these investigations. And, you know, I always try my hardest to make sure that I capture them as best I can, but sometimes they don't want to be seen. So there's a lot of times whereby I don't capture anything. I've just heard a voice, or I've just captured like loads of knocking or tapping in, like, say, my flat, for instance, and then I go to try and record it for you guys on the TBP Elite, and I can't freaking get anything happening. So that's great. I really love it when they do that to me. So yeah, Wayne is our guinea pig. That is for certain. Sorry, Wayne.
I don't mind, because obviously that's why we do what we do. You
exactly.
know, if you go around protecting yourself all the time, and you're going out into the field and you're saying, right, okay, we're going out looking, we're going to investigate ghosts. You know, if you've got protection on you or you've got blockers with you, you know, these things are likely not to happen, and therefore you're not going to get the evidence you're looking for.
No.
So that's why when I've been with other groups that have done investigations, you know, they've invited me along to their event, and they say, right, we're going to do a spell of protection. I just quietly say to them, do you mind if it's okay for me to step outside, because I don't want it. And they're 9 times out of 10, they're all quite happy for me to step outside and wait until they're done, and then I go back in again. Oh, that's a lovely question. I do like that.
Yeah.
Steve White.
Yeah. Good evening, guys. If you could come to the United States, is there any one location you would like to visit? definitely. I've got loads. Was it the state penitentiary? Which one was it? There's one of the state penitentiaries. There's the Queen Mary. Queen Mary is my ultimate.
That is definitely one that I'd love to do.
That is my number one location, is the Queen Mary for the States, and the hotel from The Shining as well. Simply because I'm a Stephen King fan, and although The Shining could be a bit more horrifying than it actually is, I'd still like to go to that hotel.
I agree.
One documentary you were watching about a woman that was murdered. Her body was put in a water tank.
Oh, the Cecil Hotel.
That's the one.
I'm not too much of a believer in the Cecil Hotel, I'm afraid.
I'd like to go there just to see what it's like.
I think the problem with the likes of the Cecil Hotel is I think the stories that have been told about the place have sort of superseded the place itself. A bit like 30 East Drive. You know, they've made a film about the place, and therefore it's sort of pushed the boundaries further and further, and the stories have been hyped even more until it's got to a stage where they've all gone, yeah, it's haunted, and it's all this and it's all that. And of course, straight away with the murder case that was there, they all turned around and said, oh, she was possessed by a devil or a demon, or she was seeing ghosts and all this. And that led to her death. The fact that she had medical issues, they didn't even take that into consideration to start with. And even the people that were commenting online were sort of part to blame for the reason as to why it took so long to find her. So although the Cecil Hotel may be haunted, I don't think it's as haunted as they make it out to be.
Kim says that you.
I was just about to say it. Yeah, you are completely correct, Ellen. So Kim has said 30 East Drive isn't as haunted as everyone thinks. We do have a few more questions. I'm going to put these up in order so you know, guys. So if you don't see yours straight away, that's why. So Nicola has said, how long have you been interested in the paranormal? I think this is one that we've had quite a few times, but we're going to say it again.
We'll let you go first.
Yeah. You ducked out the other two.
What, like completely interested in the paranormal, or just... But
yeah, I think completely interested in the paranormal because
you need to remember as well that the paranormal isn't just about ghosts.
Yeah,
it's about everything, mythology, everything.
Mythology-wise, I'd say since I was about 7 or 8.
UFOs. You don't believe in UFOs?
I'm a bit when it comes to UFOs. I'm like, I need some hard evidence, if you get what I mean. And when it comes to like spirits and ghosts, maybe 3-4 years that I've been completely into it.
And what about things like cryptozoology, like the Dartmoor black cat and black shuck? And werewolves and things like that.
You put me on the spot now because I'm going to sound completely blonde because I've never heard of any of it.
What about Bigfoot?
Oh yeah, Bigfoot. Yeah.
Well, that's cryptid. That's in cryptozoology. That's weird animals that shouldn't really exist or exist, but
some of them maybe, some not so much. I think that some are a bit far-fetched.
Yeah.
I agree.
I don't know. I think I'd have to look into it all a little bit more.
Evening, Richard.
Than what?
Got my friend Richard Cases. Come on, look. Hey, Rich. How are you?
I think I'd have to look into it a little bit more.
Yeah.
At the moment, it's mostly spirit, ghosts, and things like that. Not like everything.
Yeah. I think that's where a lot of people, when they look into the paranormal field, a lot of people sort of stick to one sort of section of the paranormal.
Yeah.
You know, they'll either stick with ufology or cryptozoology or the spiritual side, ghosts and the paranormal and that side of the paranormal. Whereas I like to have all three. You know, anything that, and it goes back. Well, I'm 47 this year, so I will be starting my 41st year of being into the paranormal. You know, since the age of 6, when I first saw the spirit of my granddad after he was killed in an accident in a shipyard. I missed him so much, and people said, "Oh, you know, that's just you're missing that much, that you're imagining that he's there." But it was soon discovered that I was actually having a full-blown conversation with my granddad, which, according to child psychologists, doesn't happen. Because I was actually answering a question that was being asked of me, and then I was then they claim that when you're talking to an invisible friend, it's a series of questions that aren't related to each other, and your conversation is built like that. But with this, it was a full-blown conversation with my granddad, and we were talking about my family. Every time it was talking about my family, and I was given an answer, and then I would give another answer to a question that was related to the previous answer. So, and they said, you know, a child of 7 or 8 doesn't think like that when they're in that situation or in that state of, you know, in dreams. It doesn't work that way. So yeah, so for me, it's been well, will be 41 years.
Goodbye, Steve.
Bye, Steve. It was lovely having you here tonight. I was wondering who that was that was leaving. I'm just like, Facebook user is going. Damn. Bye, Facebook user. But no, Steve White, isn't it? I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've been connected for a little while. Me and him I just randomly post everything of ours to his group, and then he's always like, "Oh, come on and say hello." So we have another Facebook user. I don't know who this was. I think it may have been Daniel Sims, who has just now registered himself. He's figured out how to use the link now, so that's good. Thanks, Daniel. Have you looked into Highfield House? I am planning it at some point, but apparently the best way to describe is something different. I don't know what that is.
I've heard of Highfield House, but I've never been there.
And so I think this was Daniel as well. Well, then come on, lol. We'll go to the Queen Mary and then to the Stanley Hotel. Well, at least we've got people that are in America that want us to go there. Yeah. So that's a great
if
sign.
we could afford it,
yeah.
You know, if money was no object, if money was no object, I'd be there tomorrow.
Exactly.
And the thing has been with Truth Beyond Paranormal is that we are not funded by any external source. We fund all our investigations out of our own pocket, and we don't ask for any money in return for what we do. So, you know, we're quite happy doing what we're doing. And if one of us won the lottery, I'm sure we'd be over there as quick as anything.
Yeah, Mark would be like, I want to go to the Queen Mary.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
You need to come to Cornwall. We can't even get to Cornwall. Damn. But Nicola, yeah, I mean, if you want us to come to Cornwall, I'm sure that we can find a way at some point in the future.
Definitely.
So Daniel says, oh, there we go. My name should come up now. He says it's Bearded Reality, by the way. So thank you very much for letting us know your name for future as well. So Highfield House is an ex-councillor's house. I think that's apparently it's meant to say. Things are being seen and things get moved, and little girl and old man apparition there as well. So that sounds pretty cool to me. Have you ever investigated there, Daniel? Let us know in the comments. And if you haven't and you're going to at some point, we'd love to view you going there. Bristol guys. Sometimes people want us to go to Bristol. People want us to go to Cornwall. Yeah.
Right. Okay. Well, you're seeing it as Facebook user, but it's actually my good friend Richard Case.
Hi Richard. Hi Richard Case. Sorry, yeah, Facebook user. That is you right now.
I think, yeah, Richard's not too fluent with StreamYard. That's why it's come up as Facebook users. But
yeah, me neither.
I might call him at some point and try and sort him out with help with that.
There's a little commenter with just a little hand like, "Hey, it is I."
Yeah, but that's Richard. But yeah, a couple of years ago, I was working down in Bristol with Norwich City Football Club, and me and Richard went out with a few people to a location that he goes to, and we spent most of the evening trying to figure out where this piece of wood had come from that we found on the floor. It was a random piece of wood that we heard hit the floor. And we spent ages walking around trying to find the location for where this piece of wood belonged. And we just couldn't find it. You know, and it was weird. It was a church, and it had
that makes it weirder.
It was a very eerie sort of feeling to it, but it was a very interesting night. It was very good.
Yeah, apparently a very rainy night too. Was it a really rainy or cold night? I can't remember now. It was one of those.
It was cold. It was a bit chilly.
It was cold.
That was a case of if I wanted to go out for a cigarette, then it was a case of, you know, I might just forget going out for a cigarette. It's too cold.
What I absolutely love is just Richard Case's response to you there was, "Oh yes, the wood." That is the most brilliant comment I think I've ever seen so far from.
Yeah, I mean, I was with Norwich City Football Club, so we were sort of going out and about and going to different areas. And of course, as I'm driving about, I'm looking at these places and I'm thinking, well, you know what? I reckon that place is haunted. I reckon that place is haunted. And then one night, obviously, because Richard comes from Bristol or lives in Bristol, you know, he said, you know, we'd already arranged that was what we were going to do. We were going to go to this church and we were going to do an investigation. And I think it must have been about 3 o'clock in the morning by the time I got to bed. And I had to be up again at 7 o'clock for breakfast to take Norwich City Football Club out again.
You're like, I think I'm the ghost now. So
it's not a good thing not a good thing for a coach driver to admit, really, to be honest. But
yeah, I'm tired. I can't see the road. Damn. So Daniel Sims again. No, I went last night, as was in Lincolnshire. Place was a bit boarded and barbed wire everywhere else at the moment, so I'll be figuring out a way around these defences without breaking in or destroying anything, of course. So seems difficult at the moment, but I'll try and figure it out. Well, I do hope that,
I mean, that is clearly nothing illegal.
Then
that is clearly one thing we will not do. If we pick on location, we check to make sure it's owned, and we contact the owners or the owners' representatives before we even touch anywhere near there.
Guys, I'm only disappearing because Sarah's made a late tea and a supper. I will chat with Wayne and get myself on StreamYard. Was that Richard?
Yep. Yeah, that's okay. Richard. No problem, Richard. Well,
see you soon, Richard. Come in again in our next one. Definitely. Yeah. So actually, Nicola, we're going to touch upon your upon this one in a second, just to let you know. So that will be answered in a moment. Great team. Take care, Richard, and bye. So at least we've got a lot of really cool commenters here, so I'm really pleased by that. Actually, before we go anywhere, I'm going to go back to one of the things that I asked Wayne earlier. Sorry, and I'm going to put it actually now to Ellen instead. Is there a location where you usually feel anxious about going inside, or is there any location that you've investigated that you would never go back to?
No, I'm yet to experience something like scary
Mm.
for me. I've not experienced anything like that was scared me away from a location yet.
Yeah, same here, to be fair.
Yeah, I think I'd need to do some more locations, see what location I wouldn't go back to or what was the most scariest.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, because I haven't actually witnessed anything for myself so far, not even on any of our investigations, even where I would actually say I'd never ever go back there. Even when Wayne and Mark left me on my own in apparently the most haunted bedroom of the Red Lion Hotel, I saw a lot of things like what I can only describe as light anomalies and stuff like that. I heard walking inside the room as well at one point. And when I set up a live feed as well to record us throughout the night as well while we were sleeping, at about 6 a.m., I was woken up by some really freaking weird sound, as if it was like hills on wood flooring and like a dragging sound. And when I got up and I looked outside the door, there was no one there. So and it was just as people were sort of starting to wake up, because from the night before there was people that were in town and stuff that had obviously stayed over there from the clubs. And by the way, this was when stuff was reopened for that short time that we had, guys. It wasn't during lockdown or anything like that. So it was just weird because it wasn't something that put me off going there as such. It was just one of those things where you sort of look back at it and you go, no, that wasn't normal. That wasn't normal. That definitely was something. I don't know what it was, but it was something, you know. And that was the only experience I think at the Red Lion Hotel where I started to actually feel a tiny bit uneasy. But it wasn't enough to make me kind of go, nah, I don't want to be here anymore. So I get what you mean when you say that, Ellen. You know, you have to experience a bit. You actually have to experience something quite big, I feel, to make you go,
Yeah,
I'm not going to go back.
Obviously the thing we had with the basement at the Red Lion, you know, it's obviously
That was awesome. That was awesome.
To actually, stop it.
Oh, it's me.
Right. To actually go into a location and to actually witness something is one thing. But it's when you finished and you turn the lights on and you realise that what you're actually looking at wasn't there in the first place or didn't exist during while the lights are on.
No.
That can freak a lot of people out. And I think had that have been a public investigation, like with, you know, Haunted Roses Essex Paranormal, that would have probably scared quite a few people to have actually seen what we saw.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I was taken back. I wasn't even able to be scared because I was just standing there with you two, just like, what? This isn't something that I've ever seen before. If you guys don't know what we're talking about, I will, if you want me to, guys, just put in the comment section below if you want to see possibly the best light anomaly that I personally feel that we've ever caught. Because it was definitely one of the best things I think I've ever seen or witnessed. So yeah, if you want to see that, guys, put that down in the comment section below. I'll go find it and record it for you guys, screenshot recordings, and then I will send it on over to you guys, so you guys can see it, because it was quite spectacular, and I hope that we can go back there at some point to witness it again. But Bianca has written in as well to say, what was the first investigation you went on and how did it go? That was a good one. I like that one. Oh no, he's laughing. That's not a good sign.
My first investigation was Harry Redoubt Fort. And the first room we went into, which was it the bunk room?
Yeah.
The first room we went into was in the bunk room. I started feeling a bit, I feel sick. And,
A bit,
and I started shaking for no reason. I wasn't cold. I don't know what it was, but I started shaking and it was like uncontrollable. And a few of the guests had to leave, and I'm like, I think I need to leave.
Mm.
And
we had to pull you out with 5 others, wasn't it? The first time round.
It was me, Kim, and a couple of the guests. We all had to be pulled out, and since then I've never been able to go back in the bunk room at Harwich.
I think you went back once, didn't you? But then it happened again.
Yeah.
So we just said, that's it, don't go back in. You know, and it was weird because it spread. First Ellen was feeling it, then Kim felt it, then one Kim of the first. Kim first, then Ellen, then another guest, and it just spread. And it was almost like I don't know, someone had put like a nerve gas or something in the room, and everybody was starting to feel it as it was spreading. And next minute we knew 6 of them were being pulled out and taken back to the hub for a sit down and have a cup of coffee. But second everybody was out of the room, everybody started clearing up and feeling all right again.
And yes, Kim, that was when I felt really bad. And you were right, we were dropping like flies, quite literally.
Yeah, I had a very similar experience actually at Harwich, whereby usually when I'm on these things, I can sometimes get the feeling of, I mean, I feel sick all the time anyway, so it doesn't make a difference. Usually to me anyway, I don't see any difference really. But I tend to know when it's something spiritual because it comes on really quickly out of nowhere, and I will be feeling absolutely perfectly fine on that night. And then suddenly it just comes over in a wave of like nausea or a headache that is so bad that it then goes to my stomach as well. And I'm like, what the hell is this? Like, I was feeling fine about 10 minutes ago. And I actually got it as well when we were on the way towards the Norfolk Tank Museum. I got a massive headache then. And then when I got there, I started to feel really sick. And then it just went off halfway through. And I was like, okay, what was that about? It was just it's a very strange feeling when you get that. I can't quite explain it. All I can kind of say is it's sudden and it comes out of nowhere and you don't expect it. I don't know if that's what you had. Ellen, who's Wellen? Ellen, come on, you can do it. Was it similar?
It was similar. It was like my head went a bit fuzzy, but it was the nausea more than anything.
And it gets you really bad. I mean, I think the spiritual side nausea has hit me more than anything else when it comes to me feeling ill. It really, really comes on quick and grabs me quite quickly.
Yeah, it did for me at Harwich. I was literally fine before we went in there. I was perfectly fine.
Yeah.
And we got in there and I think it's after about 30 seconds to a minute of being in there, and I was like, I really don't feel good. And best way I could describe it was like butterflies in my stomach, but it was like a nauseous feeling.
Yeah. It's almost like,
I don't know if that makes sense.
It's like that's a very good way of describing it, because it is kind of like a nervousness.
Yeah.
It's very strange.
I tell you what, when I say I was shaking, my hands were like this.
Yeah.
My legs were going, my arms were going, my teeth were chattering, but I wasn't cold. It was what is this feeling? I'm not even cold.
I don't know if you get it as well, because you're the first person that I've actually spoken to whereby it seems quite similar, but it almost feels like my insides are cold. But it's like me being me, like usual. It can be height of summer, guys. Like, seriously, not kidding. It'd be height of summer, but the inside of you feels like it's cold. So it's like you're shaking constantly shivering and constantly like you're trying, like when someone walks over your grave.
Yeah, and you get that.
Yeah, and you're like, and it's just constant.
Just thinking about it is giving me a shudder.
Yeah, I know. What is that? It's exactly the same with me, and I'm like, no, I don't. Get off me! And it feels constantly like there's something inside you, like almost like it's trying to get to your soul. It's freaking weird. I can't explain it, and it sounds really dumb. Like literally, it does sound really stupid when I'm putting it out there to you guys right now. I sound like a loony, but I promise that this is how it feels. And the only way that you guys can experience something like that is if you go to one of these investigations with us and feel it for yourself.
Yeah.
Because
Kim just said, you didn't look well at all, Ellen. I mean, I felt fine in myself, but it was just like, where has this come from? And I can remember going to the bathroom and I looked in the mirror and I was like, I was white.
Yeah, it honestly,
just I wasn't my normal colour. And Wayne kept going to me for the rest of the evening, are you all right? Are you feeling okay? I'm like, yeah, I'm fine. He went, it's like, you don't look it. I'm like, I'm fine now that I'm not in there anymore. Yeah, but whatever it was, did not like me.
Are there people at Harwich? That was at Harwich, wasn't it? There are spirits at Harwich that don't like women, aren't there?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, because I remember when I was in there.
Or spirits were, they really did not like me. And quite frankly,
I don't like them either, she's thinking.
When we go back to Harwich, I am going to go back in that bunk room.
Yeah.
Just to prove to them that I'm not scared.
Too damn right. Too damn right.
I wouldn't be able to stay in that room for longer than 5 minutes. I think my longest time in that room is like 5 minutes and 30 seconds. I've not been able to stay in the bunk room at Harwich for longer than that. So when we go to Harwich in, was it June or July? July. I'm determined to stay in there longer. But if you see the colour from my face drain, then you need to get me out.
Okay, I'll carry you out. Like, can you imagine me carrying you out? That would just be hilarious to watch. That'll be one blooper we need. It'll be more like Sam falling rather than picking you up, I think.
Or Wayne just picking me up and throwing me over his shoulder.
Yeah, it'd be like fireman carry her out. It's fine. We'll be all right. Yeah. While Sam is crawling out, like on her hands and knees, like I'm never doing it again.
I tell you what, you've got a good best friend when she comments saying, "I'll stand with you, Ellen."
There you go, Katie. Thank you very much. It'll just be all three of us. Like, yeah, that was a damn dumb mistake. Like, why did we do this?
Yeah, just all three of us having to be taken out. You calling out me being fireman carried out, and Katie's just like, yeah, okay, I'm just gonna walk out.
Yeah, what's happened? Why are you guys on the floor? I'm dying. So
Katie's a really good character when you get to know her. Honestly, she's amazing.
The problem is though, is with a situation like Harwich Redale 4, it like the first time, it wasn't just you that got affected by it. It ended up being half the team that was there.
If I remember rightly, we were all females that got taken.
It was all the females. All the blokes stayed in there, and all you guys ended up leaving. So whatever it is, you're right. It doesn't like women. And the problem is, it was set up as a Napoleonic bunk room. So basically, women had no place in a soldier's bunk room. And although it
makes sense.
Yeah, obviously the women would have been in charge of the kitchens, or in those days would have been in charge of the kitchens and that, wouldn't they? And laundry and things like that. So they wouldn't have had any place in a bunk room.
No.
So you know, to have women in a men's only personal space, they wouldn't take too kindly to it. So probably would sort of just said, see you later.
Oh, I like Mick's comment.
Yes, it is Mick. And I've seen what's in there. And
I'd love to investigate a Holly Trees museum.
It's interesting.
Where is Holly Trees?
Right. Out in you've got Colchester Castle, and right next to the castle is the Holly Trees Museum. And it is basically set up as if it was a home back in what, Tudor times, Victorian times. I think it's Victorian. Sure. And I'd heard that there was a particular painting in the Holly Trees that was haunted, and they had moved it about and put it in different places. And every time they put it in a different room, something happened to other objects in that room.
Wow.
And it didn't stop until it got put in a certain room. But then what had then happened was, instead of things in that room being moved about, a spirit actually came out of the painting, was actually wandering around the whole Holly Trees and affected everywhere else apart from that particular room.
I want to go because you know the dolls' houses that they have.
Mm-hmm.
I've been told, and going from experience, I think there's children attached to them.
Well, that's what it was in the painting. Yeah. One of the children.
Yeah. Every time I've gone in there, even as a child, when I was going on school trips to Holly Trees Museum, I've always felt like there's little girls around.
I know how that feels.
I can remember it from when I was like, I must have been 7 or 8 and going on a school trip there. And I've always wanted to go investigate there since I got more into the paranormal field, like about 4 years ago.
Seeing is that immediate area is quite good. It's like Colchester Castle itself.
Maybe I'll have to look into us investigating there.
And
that's what I was thinking.
Right, well, Colchester Castle's out of bounds.
Yeah, that's too expensive.
That is a definite no. That is a definite no. It is stupidly expensive.
Colchester Castle is the sort of place to investigate if you win the lottery.
I was going to say, if you're a millionaire, possibility. You'd have to be a triple millionaire for that place, to be fair.
Yeah, I think the last recollection, Colchester Castle wanted £1,500 to investigate in there.
Yeah.
And that was without filming. Filming was an extra £500.
500, yeah. I remember me asking them, and I was like, goodbye.
Yeah.
So
I think Holly Trees Museum is owned by the council as well, so they've probably got a price ticket on that as well.
I don't think it would be as much though, because it's a lot smaller.
Yeah, it is a lot smaller. I mean, it's not as historical as the castle.
Yeah.
But they would still have to pay for the caretaker to be there as well, wouldn't they?
Yeah.
Yeah, you have to have, with the council, you have to have someone else. Right.
Being so expensive.
You'd be surprised.
But
I'll get somebody to give him a call. We'll see what we can do if I get Mark to give him a call. We'll see.
I mean, I would love to go into Colchester Castle again. I mean, I've been in there 6 times with various teams. Been as a guest of the teams that have investigated in there, and the most baffling experience I've had in there is actually seeing a pair of Roman soldiers' legs walking in the basement underneath the castle.
Yeah.
And that was freaky, and I'm never going to forget that, because that was witnessed by 2 other people at the same time.
See, I like Colchester Castle, but there's one part of it that I won't go in, which is the dungeons. I don't like that. I never liked it as a kid. Still don't like it as an adult. You will not get me down there. No.
It's a weird place, because it's 6 rooms as such, and they're connected with low-lying tunnels connecting to each one. And you've got, in the first, I think it's in the you go down the stairs and they're quite steep. When you get down at the bottom, you go through one tunnel and there's a bricked off area, and we think, I can't remember whether it was fact or not, but the fact part of it is Colchester Castle was built over the Temple of Claudius.
Oh, yes. Okay.
And there's a section there that's been bricked off, and if you look through the gap in the wall, you can actually see what looks like the remnants of the temple.
Cool.
As you walk through and you go to the far end of the dungeon area, there's an area there that's got some gravestones. They're like tombs. And when we were in a section that was next to it, we're all sitting on a chair. And this guy was looking through, one of the guests, he was looking through into another room. And this lady had called me over to where she was sitting on her bench, and she said, I've got a cold spot. So I've gone over with the temperature gun to check to see what's there. And there wasn't any significant temperature change. It sort of fluctuated half a degree. And as I looked up, I could see this pair of legs. And you could see sandaled feet and the straps going up towards the knees. And then it stopped. And then you get, it must have been about a couple of inches of flesh above where the strap finished. And that was it. Couldn't see nothing else. And I turned round to the guy that was standing in the entrance of the tunnel saying, are you there on your own? And he went, yeah. I said, you're not. There's someone standing in front of you, look. And then all of a sudden, this woman that was standing about 3 or 4 foot away from me, she turned around, she said, yes, he's standing right in front of you. Look, put your arm out and you'll touch him. And the bloke stuck his arms out and went right through what was there. And then all of a sudden, these feet started doing that, started walking off. So we've run through into the tunnel, into this other room where these gravestones are. And we'd seen the legs turn the corner and go down what appeared to be another tunnel. We've gone down there, and me, this lady, and this guy that was standing in the tunnel entrance, we'd followed it right the way down to as far as we could go in this tunnel. And it was a dead end. But at the bottom of this dead end was a little wooden plaque like that on the wall, and there was a little hole right in the middle of it. And we're looking through, and all you could see was cobwebs and just total darkness. And as we sat back, we said, well, obviously, there's nowhere else it could have gone. And then all of a sudden, there was this green light on the wall. Now, down in the basements or throughout the castle, they've got green security lights.
Yeah.
Well, I say green security lights. Where the security lights fuse box is, they've got a little green light on the top, and we would gone round and we'd covered them with duct tape so that it didn't ruin, what we were doing. Made it all dark in there. And we saw this green light on the wall, and we said, oh, we reckon this has got to be something to do with the security lights. And then it started moving. And we're like, well, no, because these green lights are attached to a box on the wall. So there's no way that can physically move. And we said, if that's you, can you make that brighter? And it got brighter. We asked it to go out. We asked it to move left. We asked it to move right. And it was a Roman centurion. Just through the yes/no questions, we asked if it was a Roman centurion. And just as we were asking what he was doing down there, was he a guard or there? The caretaker turned the security lights on to say that the night was over. They're very strict in there, and bang on 2 o'clock in the morning, all the lights came on, and the green light had gone. And I asked the caretaker what was on the other side of that bricked off section, and he said that was the tunnel that led out from the castle and comes out down the bottom of the castle park. But they bricked it up because it was a security risk.
Yeah.
So we'd followed these legs. Now we can only assume that these legs belonged to a soldier that felt threatened by us being there and was going out the escape tunnel because he couldn't get out any other way. Because he just literally, he turned around that corner and he'd gone. And we're like, okay, that's a bit freaky. So to actually see a pair of legs from a Roman centurion, and it's been reported in other places like York. I think it was an electrician or a plumber was working in the basement at the Jorvik Museum, and he witnessed an entire brigade of Roman soldiers walking through the basement. while he was working. He was doing some work there, and he heard marching feet. And when he turned, he saw an entire troop of Roman soldiers walking through the basement. He said, and they were literally sort of, the floor was between their knee and their thigh, but you could clearly hear their feet. And when he mentioned it to the boss of the museum, he turned around and he said that that's because the old Roman road is about 2 foot underneath where the basement floor is.
Yeah, so they're still walking across that bit.
So that would be this. I would have gone down the road of saying that was the stone tape theory.
Yeah, exactly.
Because that was a replay, whereas what we got in Colchester Castle, the legs may have been a replay, but the green light, which we can only assume
is intelligent,
was from the leg, would have been the intelligent haunting. So
yeah, that's got to be.
It was really, really strange.
That's awesome, though. An amazing experience. I have a little question, actually. I have a few questions, actually. We've got quite a few questions now. Did you ever get an amazing feeling from a spirit ETC in an investigation? So that is from Joe.
Yes. When
that was a quick answer. Yes.
When we were at Rotham Control Tower, and we got Jack Fryer, the navigator, come through, I got the feeling of relief, finally somebody knows who I am.
Oh, bless. That's amazing.
Like, somebody knows who I am.
Jack.
Yeah, Jack Fryer.
Beautiful.
It was like, it was just like such a weight had been lifted. It was just like a big sigh of relief. So somebody knows me. Somebody knows who I am. Somebody knows what I did.
It was very euphoric.
Yeah,
it
by far my favourite investigation of all time.
I mean, for those that haven't,
to be fair,
for those that haven't been watching any of the previous live feeds, we've mentioned this before. On the way up to Ruthven Control Tower in Bury St Edmunds, Ellen had been getting the name beginning with a J or a G. And we've never been to Ruthven Control Tower. I knew it used to be an American air base during World War II. So I was automatically connected to it, loving World War II and being an ex-member of the Royal Air Force and going back into the Royal Air Force. I always felt there was a connection with air bases. And for Ellen to come out with, oh, it's someone beginning with a J or a G, I'm sort of, I didn't laugh at it, but I'm like, right, okay, I've never realised for you to pick up on things like that. So that was a little bit weird as far as I was concerned. But then when we actually got in now, the first part of that investigation, somebody else had the dowsing rods and not much was happening. And it seems to be that dowsing rods like me, I seem to have something with dowsing rods. And as soon as I took hold of the dowsing rods, they were going bananas. They were going in all directions. They were answering our questions.
There they are.
My little friends. Oh, just made a copper. But my little friends. And we were asking yes/no questions. We were asking it to point in certain directions. And we had got the name Jack had come out, which confirmed what you'd said earlier on about the name beginning with a J or a G. That was
just such
a
strange feeling for me.
Just that on its own was quite, I wouldn't say eye-opening, because to me, I'd already obviously put the connection with what Ellen had said earlier. And it wasn't until we turned around to him and said, is any equipment that you used in this room, can you open the rods for yes or close for no? And as quick as I'd said it, they'd opened. So we asked him to point to where the item is, and it moved over and pointed in the direction of a display case. And when we walked over, we did the same thing again, asked him to point to that item, and it pointed to this little metal wooden box thing inside the case. And when we looked, it turned out to be the compass from was it a B-17
Yeah.
or B-25, one of the two,
I think
from a heavy bomber, and it turned out to be this compass from one of the bombers. And so, of course, we're like, well, thank you very much. And then it sort of went a little bit quiet. We then finished that section of the investigation and went elsewhere. And our friend Katie couldn't go up the stairs because she wasn't feeling sort of nimble enough to get up them stairs and back down again. So Katie and Ellen stayed downstairs. Well, of course, they then went and looked in the room next door, which no one had been in. And when we came back downstairs, Ellen goes, "You won't believe this," and pulled us into this room and shone the torch on there. And there on the wall was a picture of a B-17 or B-25 bomber and its crew. And down in the bottom right-hand corner was a picture of Jack Fryer, the guy that we'd been communicating with in the previous room.
Yeah, so that was still amazing.
You know, that in itself, that created something, didn't it? I think has created something. You know, how you feel about something when you get that evidence is one thing, but when something like that happens, you think, oh my God, you've got a connection with something there. To actually communicate with something and actually see the person literally within an hour and a half of seeing that. You know, within that hour and a half of talking to this person through the dowsing rods, you actually see a picture of that person that you were talking to. You know,
put a name to a face.
Yeah.
As well, it's really weird to say, but you actually are able to put a name to the person you were talking to, which was.
And it was the 94th bomb group. I don't know if anybody is going to be able to see this.
That will focus. Hang on. There you go.
There you go. So right in the bottom right-hand corner.
This one.
That guy there.
I'll zoom in a bit.
There we go.
This one. Oh, this one right here.
That's Joe Fryer.
I was getting him pop into my head before we even got there. Yep. And that was such a strange, but at the same time, like, I don't know what word to use. Honouring?
Yeah.
Sort of feeling? But that didn't make any sense.
No, it does. It does. You know, you feel honoured to the fact that you've actually spoken to this guy. Not obviously word for word, mouth to mouth.
I've never had anything like that happen to me before. And so for that to happen was quite surreal. But I'm thankful that he did it. And then it was just the relief that I felt after that I sort of got from him, like, finally somebody knows me, somebody knows who I am.
It's almost as if that since he died, he's been trying to get people to acknowledge the fact that he exists.
Yeah.
And, and it was almost, I don't know, a feeling of relief and release. The fact that it's like, oh my God, someone's actually acknowledged the fact that I'm here. But we didn't get the feeling that he wanted to move on. You know, he was quite happy being there. And I can see why he would have been happy being there, because he was with, it may have been with his the other crew members, during that time. He could have been happy where he was.
And what also made it better was he put his dog through, like his dog came through with him.
I remember that.
I can't remember what his dog's name was, but I remember it being a German Shepherd. And it was just like, wow. I honestly don't have any words to describe how that evening was and the feelings I was having that night. I just have no words for it.
I think it's a beautiful way that you've explained it, though, Ellen, because it's an emotional thing. You've got to be there. I
felt like I wanted to cry for him.
The thing is, well, I think in a sense you had a connection with him as well. It's to actually come out with. I know it's only a letter, it's an initial. But to actually come out with, oh, we're going to come in contact with someone with a name beginning with J or G, like 2 or 3 hours before we've even actually got there and started walking around. You know, that, in a sense, not only does that sort of create that feeling within you when it does happen, but also it asks other questions like, are you susceptible to spirit? Should you then start looking into sort of researching the ability that you have? Because you've clearly got an ability there. I think you've got the ability there. It just needs something for you to work with.
Yeah.
To build on that ability.
Like I say, on the way down there, I kept getting the letters J or G pop up, and it wasn't until we went into that room I'm like, I've got it. It's Jack. It's the name Jack. It literally just went bang straight into me. Like
somebody was like, "Hello, I'm here." Yeah. Like, this is me. That's beautiful, though. So Bianca has also said, what's Bianca said? Have you seen spirits randomly without you specifically investigating a place?
Right, now this is probably going to come off a bit.
Sorry, what was that question?
Have
you seen any spirits randomly without specifically investigating a place?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I lost a couple of my pets.
Pets is a big one.
3 years apart from each other, or something like that. And I thought, right, they're gone. And I'd go to bed some nights and be like, Spot, what are you doing? Only Spot wasn't around. He'd been passed for a good few months. And then I'd be like, Ozzy, what are you doing? Only, Ozzy, you're not here. And then I remember going into Tesco's one day with my mum doing some shopping. And I had this lady come over to me and she went, you do realise you've got your cats following you? I'm like, I'm sorry, what? She went, yeah, 2 black and white cats. One with a little black bit next to his nose and the other one got a little black spot on his back leg. I'm like, what are you going on about? Have you been stalking me? She went, no, I'm not trying to scare you, but they are with you and they are following you. And she went, the little black and white one with the little black spot on his back leg is following you more than anything, which sort of brought me some comfort because my mum got in for me when my depression was at its worst. And I thought I was just seeing things, but I'm not, because I'll sometimes walk in here and I'll see bobbins at the back door wanting to go out, or I'll go into the garden and I'll see Wayne's rabbit spirit jumping around the garden.
Oh yeah, that can happen. We've got that here. We see like shadows. We see shadows which are the size of a cat running.
Yeah, I mean,
about.
I don't see the shadows. I actually see them. And
that's amazing.
It's an amazing feeling for me because Ozzy, the one that had the little black bit next to his nose, I'd had him 14 years. And so he was my baby.
Yeah.
And so I'll like come downstairs and I'll be like, okay, hi Ozzy, hi Spot. But more than anything in this house, I will see bobbins at the back door. And she passed away, it'll be 2 years in July.
Yeah.
And it's like I know she's not here.
She's now looking like, are you there now?
Yeah.
You know what? I'm saying that and I swear she's there. I'm like, she's not. Stop looking over there. But like I'll come downstairs and I want to have a fag or I'll have my coffee. I'll be like, hi Bobbins. And
I think as well there is the fact that obviously we love Bobbins a lot, and Bobbins loved us, even though she was only with us for a short time.
yeah.
She respected us from the moment she came to us.
No, I tell you what, I've never met a dog just wanting some love. Like the first day we got her, I went to lay down on the sofa, and bless her heart, she jumped up on that sofa and she laid next to me, and she did not move for the best part of 2 to 3 hours.
Yeah.
But
and it's weird as well, because sometimes I get the feeling that she's with us when we go to bed at night. You know, when you get like your cat or a dog comes up and jumps on the bed, and you can feel the indentation in the actual bed itself.
Yeah.
The amount of times where I felt that. And at the moment, we've got our youngest cat, Shadow, is upstairs in our room with us at night time, because she's just been she's just had the snip, and so she's feeling a bit.
We're talking about stuff, and then suddenly one of my books, I don't know if you guys just heard that on camera or not, but one of my books is just moving. Mooks. I need to learn English. Need to go back to bloody school. Yeah, well, obviously I haven't, have I? If I think it's called Mooks. But one of my books just literally just went across the freaking table, and I was really annoyed that I didn't get that on camera. But if you guys may have heard that noise just then, it just went across the table. So we've also got Bianca, who has said any spirits that you don't have connection with. So I'm guessing that's meaning no connection to you guys, but you still see them. Have you had any of those experiences without investigating?
Yes. I can walk into a place. I can walk into a place and know whether it's haunted or not. I wouldn't say I'm psychic. And I don't go down the road of claiming I am, or being a medium or anything like that. And to be honest, I don't particularly want to be able to look into the ability or to learn more about the ability, because I would rather go with a scientific approach and try and find the answers myself with using whatever means necessary. But I can go into a place and I know whether it's haunted. Harrods Redoubt Fort as a prime example. The only place you can smoke there is out in the dry moat. And I walked out there once on my own, and I've walked out there and I can hear drums. But it wasn't like a drum kit sort of drum sound. It was the sound of a lone drummer just drumming on one single drum. And obviously in a Napoleonic fort with the soldiers that have had a drummer boy there, and I had been told that there is the spirit of a drummer boy there, but I never expected to hear it. And I walked out there and I could hear this drum, and it was like playing a roll call. So it was tapping away, and I thought, well, where the hell's that coming from? It's coming from the other side. And I've gone running round to the other side of the dry moat, and I've got there. There's nothing there whatsoever, but the sound has continued from the other side. It's literally gone right the way round in a big. Can't really show you on it. It's gone round in a big circle. Literally, every time I've gone round the dry moat, it's moved with and it. So I could only describe that it was sort of playing games with me. I'd never actually witnessed, and again with Colchester Castle, seeing the feet, there was no connection with seeing a Roman soldier's feet in the dungeons, and yet actually
nothing else.
and my instinct was to give chase. I didn't run away. I didn't stand there and go, oh my God, look at that. I made a beeline for that tunnel. I wanted to catch whatever it was, and so I ran towards it, and it walked off. The second I moved, it moved. And then it just vanished. So, I can go into a place and know whether it's haunted. And I've got the unfortunate pleasure of having a spirit with me that is attached to me. And I had a psychic medium come round and actually sort of investigated my house that I was living in at the time. And it turned out that I was her ex-husband.
Whoops.
Which sort of makes me ask the questions, do I go and have past life regression done to try and confirm it? But when I went to the Hall of Records instead, because it was the cheaper option, I discovered that everything this lady had said was accurate. It was true. And this lady had no knowledge of me prior to coming round to my home. I met her at a bus stop and I walked her to my home. She didn't know where I lived. I just told her I lived near a bus stop in Colchester, so I'll meet her on such and such a bus. And she walked in through the back door, and within seconds, she said, Joanne. And I've got the feeling she's with us now because I'm getting it in the back of my head. I'm feeling it up the back. And
She's
that's how I
talking about me.
I know when she's about, because whenever I get headaches, they're always at the front. Normal headaches or migraines are always at the front for me. I never get them at the back unless Joanne's about. You know, and this woman had come out with so many different things, and to say that I was this woman's dead husband, he died when they were evacuating Dunkirk. So for her to turn around and say, you're her husband, you died in Dunkirk, I'm like, well, I obviously won't, because I'm only 30 odd at the time when she came round. I said, you know, there's no way I could have died at Dunkirk. I ain't that old. And she went, no, you were her husband in a previous life. You died in Dunkirk, and she died a year later. Her mum and dad lived 2 doors down. When I checked with the records office, everything was there. She lived there, her husband lived there, her husband had died in Dunkirk, and everything all pieced together. And I was gobsmacked. But every time I've moved, she's moved with me.
She's like, no, you can't run away from me.
Yeah. So that confirmed in a sense that I was her husband in a past life, and she isn't too bothered with how we've got now. She's not bothered by Ellen. So, you know, and even the kids have seen her. Ethan and Chloe have seen her. Not so much about Tamsin and Freddie, but I definitely know Ethan and Chloe have seen her because they've mentioned her a couple of years ago. They mentioned her. So it's a bit of a weird experience to be able to see something at random like that.
I think Freddie might have.
Yeah.
Because the telly would be off and he'll be looking like at the sofa or at the wall, and he'll be standing there and he'll be smiling.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the cats do it as well. The cats have weird moments which they don't normally do.
Blossom and Tippy are more likely, I think.
Yeah, cats are always the first ones to pick up on things like that. We have that a lot with R2, where they look at certain things, or we have Ragnar, whereby they're still visible now, but the other night we tried to pick Ragnar up near to our bed, and he scratched the living daylights out of Mark out of nowhere, and he's never done that before. And then for that whole week, every time we went to go pick him up, just near the bed, nowhere else, just near the bed, he did the same thing over and over, and he did it to me a couple of times too. It's the first time we've ever had that.
Yeah.
And then it just stopped. And he's not done it again since. So it's very strange how they pick up on things. So Joe has also asked, okay, so you say a haunted place you have felt was haunted, but have you ever gone to a place and thought this place is really peaceful?
Yeah. Yeah, a few times. I mean, like I say, you can go to a place that is haunted, but it's not necessarily a negative energy. A positive energy can create that peaceful atmosphere. So you can still go to a haunted location and it'd be peaceful because it's not a negative energy. Again, on the flip side of the coin, you can go to a place that's not haunted at all and don't get any feeling whatsoever.
I think for me, Rotham Control Tower, I walked in there and I'm like, this is peaceful. This is
definitely.
This is calm. I
never felt threatened.
No.
Never felt a threatening.
Cool.
Actually, tell a lie. There is one room in the control tower on the ground floor. When you walk in through the door on the left-hand side, that room is reputedly to have something nasty in there.
I didn't find
But I walked in there and I'm like, I don't feel nothing in here.
I didn't find that whatsoever. I remember just walking all over the place and being like, I don't feel anything negative here. All seems very calm.
I think even the objects that were in the display cases, that had been discovered and that they never seemed negative.
When we went into the main building, we went right down to that room at the bottom where we got through to Jack. Mm-hmm. I walked in there and it was like,
good night, Bianca.
Good night, Bianca. Thank you for joining us tonight.
I can relax in here. This is nice. I like it in here. And me and Katie, we must have stayed in that room for about half an hour, 45 minutes before we went on to the next room because we felt comfortable in there. And then we went through to the next room, which was where we found the picture of Jack. And it was like, this room is still calm, but that first room we were in is just like, it was just, I don't have a word or words to describe how calm it was in there. But we both felt relaxed in there, and Katie sometimes can be a bit skittish. I mean, I can as well, but that room for me was wow.
Yeah, it's just that obviously, I mean, knowing a lot of people that run a lot of groups that have already been there, I talked to a couple of people before there just so I can sort of get a little bit of background information on things that other teams have experienced. And I keep it to myself because if it happens again while we're there, I can confirm that this is a repeat occurrence. It's happened to other people. And I'm currently in talks with a couple of teams that regularly go there. And they're going to forward me some of their information, and we're going to compare the notes from what they've got to what we've got to see if there's any similar incidents happened in the different locations, investigations. But this one particular team had said to me that first room on the left-hand side when you go in has got a negative energy in there. It doesn't like people being there. So I've gone in there straight away thinking something may happen because we're here. And it never did. And I never felt negative energy in there at all. I was expecting something, but we got nothing. And in the end, we must have only spent about 10 minutes in there, didn't we? Before we walked out and went upstairs.
Yeah.
You know, so the problem is I think sometimes it's when you hear what other people say about the location. You know, when you've got other people, it's a power of suggestion. You know, if you've never been to a place before and you talk to someone that has, and they go, "Oh, it's a really creepy place. We went in the basement and this happened and that happened," it already installs the idea in your head that it's haunted and that something may happen while you're down there. If you hadn't have spoken to that person in the first place, you're going to go in there level-headed. You may think, well, yeah, it could be haunted, but you're not going to know what by because you haven't talked to anybody about it. So you're going to be there to experience it for the first time. So if something does happen, it's a whole new experience, and that's what we want.
Yeah, I think sometimes that's why it's good not to research stuff as well, you know, go places sometimes, because then you go into the place with your eyes sort of, and you get your eyes opened to things that you weren't expecting. And beforehand before you go in. So I feel that that's why I don't tend to really look things up or anything like that very often, because I just like to turn up, and if I witness something, then I know that it's not something that's been put in my head, and I like that.
I think that is one of the big problems, is if an idea is put into your head, you've already gone into that location with a set mindset, and that can be your downfall.
Yeah, exactly. I'm now looking at my other couple of questions that I had for you guys. Which one should I go for?
Joe Max just asked another one. Have you ever went to go on an investigation and things have happened since you set on your journey to go there?
Yep.
Again, Ruffham Tower.
Yeah, that was the one.
Prime example is Ruffham Control Tower. Right from the word go, on the way up there, Ellen's getting the name J, beginning with J or G, or the J or G sound, and then to get what we got, I've had a few experiences with going to Harwich Redoubt Fort that something's warned me something's going to happen. Not particularly the incident with the mannequin dummy, but other different bits and bobs that have happened. One particular incident would have been on the rooftop of Harwich Redoubt Fort. I had been pre-warned that something was going to happen on the roof. Something wasn't right with the roof, and I didn't want anybody going up there because it was quite windy that night. And we were all out in the middle of the fort, and it's a bit like Narnia. There's a lamppost right in the middle of the fort, and I called it the concrete. And I called it the concrete donut because it's a perfect circle. Yeah. And then there's grass in the middle with a lamppost and a well right in the middle of the fort.
That well was weird.
And we're all standing at that lamppost, and then all of a sudden someone pointed up and went, "There's somebody up there." Yet everybody that was there that night was standing at the lamppost. Now, you can't just walk into Harwich Redoubt Fort because the gates are locked, and then you've got to walk across a bridge, and then you've got to come down steps to get down to where we were. So no one could just walk into the place. So I turned around and said, "Right, you guys go up them stairs, and we'll go up those stairs, and we'll literally cover the entire top of the roof." So we've got about 10 people who've all gone off up both the separate stairways. We've gone up the stairs so that if they're going to run, they've got nowhere to go because we've covered all the stairs. So we've gone up there, we've run all the way around the roof, and there's nothing there. But we all saw clearly a figure going like this from around one of the pulley sheds. Along the roof, there's them pulley sheds, isn't there?
Yeah, I remember those.
Poking their head round the corner of the wall like this and actually watching us from the roof.
Do you know what you're talking about? Harwich has just reminded me of the first time I met Sam, and we got up to Harwich and you forgot the milk, so me and Sam had to walk down to the shop to get the milk. I don't know what Wayne's just talking about. That just reminded me of it.
There's me in all my goth gear and my massive goth boots at the time, having to walk like a mile away to go and get some milk because everywhere was shut. And he's like, "I forgot the milk." And Ellen's like, "Hey Sam, this is the first time that we're meeting. Could we go get some milk?" I was like, "Let's go get some milk. Otherwise, there's going to be some pretty pissed off customers."
Well, what a way to break the ice between the two of you, eh? First time you met each other and you've walked down the road together, and now look at you.
Exactly. And now we're actually planning a photo shoot. Like me and Ellen, we're going to do a photo shoot together and everything. That's how life goes. It's a weird and wonderful thing, life. But we love it. I have a question for you as well, guys. So I'm going to put this to Ellen first and then Wayne afterwards. From 3 to 1, of course, 3 being the lowest and also 1 being the highest. What top 3 places would you tell people on our live feed right now to investigate if they were to be, I don't know, in Essex or the UK in general?
Yeah.
Preston Manor.
Yep.
Harwich Redoubt.
Yep.
Rougham Control Tower.
I agree.
Rougham by far being my favourite. I can't see anything topping that, to be honest.
That's cool.
Yeah, I think I'm going to go with Rougham as probably my top one.
Yep.
And then how can I put it? And then Harwich, but I wouldn't put Preston Manor. I wouldn't.
Going from 3 to 1.
Yeah, from 3 to 1, I'm going the other way round. My top would be Rougham. Then Harwich Redoubt 4.
But I've not been on that many investigations where I've gone to different locations.
And yeah, but the problem is when Sam asks the question, that starts. I have to think. Because London Dungeons was pretty good.
Yeah.
Because I had a few experiences in London Dungeons.
Yeah, so did me and Mark. I mean, without the other individuals being there, it would have been brilliant. But we got the end of the night, and the end of the night part was probably the best part of the whole thing. When we were just investigating on our own, it was brilliant there.
I don't know. The problem is, I mean, even Charlton House, you know, that's a nice location. Not as haunted as people make it out to be, but it's still a good location.
Yeah.
It's difficult.
I actually changed one of my answers.
I'm going to go Colchester Castle for my third one. I'm going to
change Preston Manor to RAF Upward.
RAF Upward. Okay. Okay. Yeah. Upward was an interesting one. Even though, where did they go, guys? I mean, they went somewhere. Let's see where they went. Hang on a second. I've got somebody here, so I'm just going to add them back in now.
There we go.
They went properly. They went for somewhere.
Yeah, sorry, someone tried ringing me at the most wrong time.
Ah, okay, that's all good. That's no problem.
And it cancelled out my microphone.
Ah, yeah, that happens. But yeah, Upward was definitely up weird. It was weird. You know, we had the couch thing, whereby that flipped itself over on its own. And we got that live, which is quite interesting. Yeah. I think Jason got that on live for the group, so that was interesting. Our first ever experience. And then there was the thing whereby we heard that bang as well behind us when we were doing that little seance between all of us. And we heard that massive bang behind us, and we had absolutely no idea where that came from. And of course, and then just in general, there was just some weird people as well that were there in general, just randomly coming in on moozing around on our investigation, which was quite interesting that night. But yeah, Upward was definitely probably one of the most strangest, for me, explored rather than paranormal wise, because it was such a big place. There was a hell of a lot to see in a very short space of time. So it was unfortunate we didn't get to do all of it. But then again, all of the buildings are very similar to one another, really, when I look at it. So, are you guys getting feedback, or is it just me?
We're finding it very hard to hear you because someone tried to call me, and when someone calls you on StreamYard, it cancels out my speaker. So I find it very hard to hear what you're saying.
You're very, very quiet. Even though the volume's up full, you're very, very quiet.
Oh, that's weird.
You're able to send me the link.
Well, I mean, I can come out of it and then come back in again.
Yeah, that may be a good idea. So, guys, Wayne's just going to leave for a second, and then I'm going to add him back in again, if that's okay. The TV's not on, Joe. It is just literally that StreamYard is being a bit funny again. But Wayne's going to just leave, and then I will add him back in again, see if that works. Yeah, sorry, guys, about that. Some more technical difficulty. Somebody called Wayne. And unfortunately, when that happens, it cancels out your speaker, which means that then you can't hear, well, they can't hear me, which is a bit of a problem. So until those guys come back in, one thing that I am going to promote a little bit is that hopefully this weekend we're looking to do a live of one of our virtually haunted episodes. So if you guys want to witness Wayne in his house doing that, come on in and do that. So I'm just adding him back in now.
We can hear you.
Yes.
Yay! We're back. We're good. I don't know why I'm just like brandishing my vape in the air there, but you know, but yeah. So
ages. Be surprised if it still works.
I'm gasping for a cigarette myself.
Yeah, I promise that we will stop in a moment, guys, because we've only got well, it had 7 viewers, we've now got 6 viewers, but we started with 20, 25, and then it went down to about 15, and now it's down to 6. So we will end very shortly, guys, just so then you guys don't have to keep on listening to us waffle on. But my last question before I get on to the usual TBP ones that I've got right at the end. One again now for you, Wayne, as well. When did you notice that you had the connection that you had, and what's been your most recent paranormal experience that you've had?
I think obviously there's the connection that I had when I was 6 after my granddad had been killed. You know, I know, okay, I was 6 years old, but children are more open-minded compared to adults. And so I would say I was talking to my granddad, and the rest of my family would go, you know, don't be silly, don't be stupid. And they would saying that I was being completely wrong. You know, got to be careful what you say. Don't say it in front of your nan because she'll be upset and all of this. But I was adamant it was my granddad that was coming into my room in the evening to make sure I was okay. And he would stay for a little while and then he'd disappear. And that was then what kick-started me into reading more about ghost sightings or paranormal sightings. And it didn't stop with just ghosts. It went down to ufology, cryptozoology, and myths and legends, simply because most myths and legends are sort of based on some form of fact at some point. And as an example, I read my daughter's a story last night or tonight called Yuki and the Tsunami. And it was about a little boy who was trying to warn people of something was going to happen. He'd been taught by his granddad to spot the signs of a tidal wave. And he was up on the mountainside and he saw the sea recede, saw it going back after an earthquake. So he ran back down to the beach to warn people that there was a tidal wave coming, and they all laughed at him. And so he then goes off to the rice fields where all the rice stacks were all being stored to dry out in the sun, and he set fire to them. This drew all the villagers away from the beach, and they chased him back up the mountainside. Of course, when they turned around, they all saw this tidal wave coming, and it washed away the village. But in the process, it saved 400 people. Now, that is the newer version, but the older version wasn't Yuki, the child. Yuki was another name that they used for a name for bravery. And so that had originally come from an original Japanese story about a man who was able to know the signs and warned people that the tsunami was coming, and he saved all these people. And over the years it changed, and that's where your legends and myths come from. So that story has created a legend because this man was actually responsible for warning all these people, and so it evolved. So all of those things were all sort of there right from the start. From about 6 years old, I would read stories about ghost sightings, UFO sightings, and things like that, and it's always kept me fascinated. So I've always read up about it whenever I can.
That's pretty awesome. I will ask the same to Ellen, but Ellen's
when she comes back. She's otherwise predisposed at the moment, I'm afraid.
Yeah, that's fine. When she comes back, I'll read her one out. What is, Wayne? What is like the most recent paranormal experience that you have had?
Well, before lockdown, and I don't want to scare you.
Me, damn.
Yeah.
Here we go.
Because when we were at Halstead,
yes,
on our wonderful time, there was something with us when we were in that room, and we started filming just before the police paid a visit.
Yeah, they're like, hello.
There was something else in that room, and it was running around the room at a rate of knots.
Really?
It was literally running. It wasn't, obviously we know that was an old people's home, but there was what I could only describe. Oh, actually, no, it wasn't just an old people's home, was it? It was also a mental asylum at one point.
It was a mental hospital at one point as well.
But there was a youngish lad was running around in that room, and it was literally running circles around us. And I was feeling a little bit mystified as to why he was there. But it was literally just, and I think that has probably been, apart from what I have with Joanne, let me know she's around, that'd be the only sort of separate experience, and that was before lockdown last year, wasn't it?
Yeah. So that was the second lockdown, wasn't it? That was before the second lockdown. So that would have been like sort of October time, something like that. Yeah, because we were going to do that as our Halloween episode, weren't we?
Yep.
Yeah, I'll have to get back in contact with that guy at some point, or with the actual place themselves.
It was definitely an interesting place, and what I do find a bit strange is why the Aga cooker was still there.
Yeah, exactly.
There were things left in that place that anybody with an ounce of common sense would have removed, because that Aga cooker is worth a lot of money, and yet they just left it.
Yeah, they were like, no, we're just going to leave that there to rot away. Yeah,
and the piano in the outbuilding. Why
really
demolish a piano? That could have been fixed and used somewhere else, and yet they just destroyed it.
It's, very upsetting to see that. Now that I've got Ellen back, hi Ellen.
You got a question being asked, and I'm going to go to the bathroom.
Yeah, now Wayne can leave, bless him. So Ellen, what first made you aware of your sixth sense? What was that first sort of inclination that you had that said, you know what, I can definitely get something that comes through to me here spiritually?
I always had that feeling when it came to my pets, but what sort of semi-confirmed it was Rotham. Rotham, same thing for me. I'd never actually experienced anything like that before, but I think I may look into it a bit more.
Definitely.
Because I want to understand it more, and if it could be helpful, then I'd quite like to. I'd like to investigate into it a bit more and look into it a bit more. It makes me quite excited to what might happen in the future as well.
Yeah, definitely.
So
yeah, because it shows you that you're open to it, and
yeah,
and that means that once you go out a little bit more with us, or you investigate remotely with us, even, which I'm now looking into doing as well with Peter Ling. It means that then, you may be picking up stuff, even if you're at home with the kids. You could be picking up stuff and you're not even there. Same with Peter, which would be quite interesting to see. Or you may hear things that we don't. It's more than possible to be able to do that. So we'll definitely see what gift that you've got. That would be really cool.
I'm quite interested to see if it is just a gift, if it is a gift, or if it was just a one-off thing.
Yeah, usually those sorts of things, when they happen, it's one of those things whereby you're open to it, but maybe there's a block there. It's kind of like my mother, for instance. She absolutely loves everything spiritual, but paranormal stuff she gets a bit freaked out by. So she kind of blocks it herself, but she's had experiences, which, I'll tell you guys on when we do our live with Mark as well. But she's had experiences that she can't explain, but she tends to cut off from it because she's just not really that interested in hearing and seeing stuff all around her all the time. Which is understandable. But with yourself, if you're open to it, it's more than likely that you can have that sort of style of gift. That's for certain. So the next question, so the last part of this question is there anything recent that you can say is paranormal that you have experienced that you just think that was extremely weird and I can't explain it?
I mean, lately I felt like I can see my nan around. I mean, she passed away 2 years ago, but I don't know if it's because we've been going through her things, because her house went up for sale about 3-4 weeks ago, and within a week it was sold, and so we had to quickly empty out her house, and I've got some of the bits from her house here, and we had to help my mum bring in like 13 massive boxes of stuff from her house. So I don't know if it was just the fact we were going through her stuff and sorting it out, or if it genuinely was her. I think it may be a mixture of both. But there was one thing, when was it? Thursday or Friday last week, I was sat at my dressing table and I was doing my makeup, and I remember looking in the mirror and being like, hang on a minute. And I turned around and I swear blind I saw my nan, but I could be wrong. I don't know if it's because I'm just missing her at the moment. But it was unexpected.
Yeah.
But I think it's sort of a mixture of the both at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is when you miss somebody, they're more susceptible to come through to you because you're missing them. It's kind of like they kind of pick up on that, and then they can use that sort of energy that you're feeling at that time to be able to come through and manifest to you. So that is a possibility, So I wouldn't poo-poo it. Maybe it was just, trick of the eye or something. But I definitely wouldn't poo-poo it, just in case, because you never know. Sam, your video looks like an old movie, if that makes sense. Like an old reeled movie. That is exactly what I'm seeing at the moment. I don't know if you're seeing that, Ellen, but Joe has been putting this whole time, you've got shadows going across your ceiling again. And now
it's almost like you've got a candle flickering.
Yeah, it's like
it's like you can see it on the ceiling above your head. It's like you've got a candle in front of you, and it's flickering onto the ceiling. So it's like,
yeah, that's exactly. I mean, I'll show you guys now that is not what's going on, so you guys can see that I don't have anything around me apart from all of my usual crap all over my floor. There's definitely someone around at the moment. It's probably Adam again, because he's the one that likes to play around. When you were saying earlier as well, I don't know if Jo heard this or whether she was on the video at the time, but when you said earlier that it felt like a relief thing had come over you when you were talking about Ruffin with Jack Fryer, there was a distinctive sound of what seemed to be a boy's voice that just went, right next to me here. And now that I'm saying that, I've now got a horrible neck pain. Like, you know, like if you accidentally cramp your neck and you're like, ow. That is, that is exactly what I'm sorry, guys. Everybody around whoever shared this has now witnessed that.
I get that most mornings, near enough every time I wake up. I'm like, oh crap.
Yeah,
I got cramp.
Move. Hello, everybody. I am Sam. It looks like you're a robot. It's lovely.
The worst one is when it's like that.
Yeah, like this was basically what I just had. Like, it felt like somebody had just digged their hand into my freaking neck just then, just as I was talking. And now it hurts. So if that is you, Adam, thank you very much for doing that. Like, that is exactly what I wanted right now. Thank you. But yeah, I was just saying, Wayne, that I think Adam has been coming in to try and sort of talk to us a little bit. I don't know if you're noticing, but Joe's saying that there has been shadows going across my ceiling, and also it kind of looks now like my camera is like an old film.
Yeah, I mean, on the footage that we're getting here, I mean, I've got it on my tablet and coming through on my phone as well. It's almost as if there is like, I don't know, an external light source and it's moving about.
Yeah, exactly. I agree.
Going out, in and out of picture.
I'm just making sure that it's not like because of any of the trees moving, which they're not, so that is definitely not what it is, because I do have light outside, but you wouldn't be able to see that with the light inside on.
No, I mean, on the footage on the footage I'm getting here, it's not something that's coming from outside, it's something that's coming from all round.
Yeah, it's like all here, isn't it? It's all
the whole picture. It's almost as if it's going into, you know, in the old black and white films when they fade out on a scene at the end of the film, and you get that tunnel. You get the tunnel. Yeah. It's almost as if your camera's trying to do that.
Yeah. Well, this isn't an old film camera, guys. So yeah, like, oh, it started doing it more as I told it to stop. Do you guys?
Maybe that's Adam.
I think it is Adam, because as and I don't know whether Jo picked it up. She may have done, or whether she didn't, or any of the other guys. But as Wayne, you're Wayne. As Ellen was talking about feeling like a lifting when she was talking to Jack Fryer, like as he said that, I felt like there was a voice in my ear of a man that just said, yeah. Which is weird.
The volume's gone again.
It's gone again.
Oh no.
So I keep getting someone keeps trying to call me, and it keeps blanking out the volume on there.
God damn it. Oh dear.
Hang on, right, I'll come out and come back in.
What was that voice then? What voice did you hear? Yeah, if you guys leave just for a second, I'll add you back in again. No worry. What was the voice that you just heard, Joe? Because if you guys are hearing stuff that I'm not, please let me know. Someone's speaking. Oh. Has it gone now? Because if it has gone now, it was because of the fact that Wayne was getting it before. But if it hasn't gone, then... So apparently they were speaking. As you guys had left, Joe said that somebody was speaking and there was a voice coming through. If it was coming through from my end, then, well, that's probably Adam. But yeah.
I will add, we have got the TV on in the living room.
Yeah, he does have the TV on in his living room, just to let you guys know. It sounded like a child shouting, he said. She said. Sorry, Joe.
On Channel 5, isn't it? It's on police interceptors and that, isn't it? So
yeah.
So unless there's a child that's just stolen a car, then I don't know.
Yeah, if it says a child has stolen the car and then started yelling, then we'll know it was that. So it sounded like a child shouting. That's a bit confusing. But yeah. So, well, I'm going to continue anyway. Okay, no, I thought it just stopped. Joe, I don't know, maybe if I go like that, I don't know if you guys see like a bit of a dark figurey shadow that's sort of in the corner of the room on the right hand bottom of my screen. I don't know. From where I'm sitting, all I see is like Guitar Hero freaking guitar and some candles and stuff in the corner there. But oh, and now I've just heard a loud bang in the room with me, so I'm guessing that probably is him. Well, hello, Adam. Thank you very much for coming on our live feed tonight. Thank you for making your presence known. If you want to stay and do anything else, you're more than welcome to. For our live viewers that are still with us, there's 5 people watching you right now. If you're interested to do anything else, you're more than welcome to do that, as long as you don't come over and freaking hit me in the back like you did before, because that kind of hurt a bit, to be fair. But I'm going to continue. Oh, hi, Phil. Lovely to see you. Thank you for saying hello. We're actually coming to the last part of our live feed now, because we have been going for 2 hours already. So here are the last of the questions for you guys. I want to ask as well, why did both of you decide to join the experience with TBP? And that's to the both of you, so you can both answer it whenever you feel.
I'll let you start.
Honestly, I joined because Wayne joined.
That was like the best ever answer, wasn't it? I joined because Wayne joined.
That, and because I thought maybe I'd be able to do more investigations and not have to pay out an arm and a leg and maybe sell a kidney to go on an investigation.
Yeah, agreed.
And
yeah, they are a bit expensive.
TVP, there's no fakeness. It's what you see is what you get with us. None of us are fake. We don't fake anything. We're as real as it can be. Other than certain teams. You couldn't get any more real with us.
No, I agree.
I mean, like, our live feeds prove it. Our live feeds prove it. I mean, we could post an episode on, say, YouTube or on Facebook, and somebody could say, well, that looks like it was faked. But then you could actually refer them to the live feed that we took of that investigation and be like, no, because this actually happened. Like, There's no fakery with us. And honestly, we're just an amazing bunch of people that get on well with each other.
Yeah, we just do it for the fun. We like investigating. We love the paranormal. We want to get the evidence for you guys viewing, and that's what we do. That's what we're there for, and that's what we're doing. And, you know, like Ellen said, one of the things that I have been asked to do, one of the things I was going to do originally, and then I always forgot when it came to the night, unfortunately, and that's, you know, my bad, is that a lot of people have asked whether when we're live, whether we can actually behind the scenes before we even set up, like show people our setup and show what we do on a night. Just to sort of show that, you know, we're not there to rig everything up. We're not there faking anything. We're not there putting wires places, you know, just so then it kind of confirms it even further. So then when we put stuff out there, we can refer them back to that one as well. And I've said, yeah, you know, we have nothing to hide. So I had one person that came to me directly and said, you know, if you're up for doing that, because he said, just from my perspective, I'm a skeptic and I want to believe everything that you're getting, but I find it sometimes hard. And I said, yeah, you know, we are more than open to that. We're an open book where, you know, what you see is what you get, like Ellen said, and I'm more than willing to allow that to happen on our investigations and to show you guys that we are not setting it up, you know. And he was like, brilliant, then, you know, I'm all game for watching your lives. So it's nice to see that people are, you know, when me and Wayne, we get contacted as well by you guys, we will always respond. We're not like the faceless teams that you get out there whereby they won't respond to you when you message them, because I've always found that that's a little bit off-putting as well for me personally. Anyway, if I contact somebody, I know people get busy, they have their own lives, but if I contact somebody to say, hey, you know, this has happened on your live feed, I want you to investigate that, to not have anything come back at all from those individuals kind of puts me off. So that's another thing we do, you know. So I'm going to put the same question then to Wayne. You know, why did you decide to become part of TVP?
Because I was asked.
Yeah. Epic fail. Yeah, no, he was asked, actually. He was asked.
Me to join you. No, it basically, you know, there are teams out there. There are loads of teams out there, and I could have worked with most teams that are out there. And obviously, as most people know, that I used to work alongside Most Haunted and Most Haunted Experience. Oh, I swore again. I try not to do that, and I still do it. I grew tired of how things were done on their side of things. It weren't the fact that, you know, whether they're being classed as fake or not is not the reason why I do what I do. I do it because I enjoy it. I do it because I love it. And the basis of Truth Beyond Paranormal isn't just about showing the proof that we get. It's also about unifying people from other teams. You know, we're all after the same answers. It doesn't matter whether you're I will name people, whether it's Ghosts of Britain, Spectral Paranormal, Haunted Roses, Essex Paranormal. It doesn't matter what group you are, you're all out there looking for the same answers. And I like to think that the idea you had that to have people from different groups join under one banner to go out investigating, it unifies that belief that we're all after the same thing. And then obviously there is also the aspect that, you know, like Ellen said, we have the filming for the episode, but while we're filming for the episode, we're also broadcasting live.
Yeah.
Now, if you look at all the other teams that are out there, 99.9% of all the teams that are out there, out and about doing videoing or whatever, they don't live stream and record for their episodes at the same time. They're always one or the other. They either do a live stream or they record for an episode. They don't do both at the same time. And that's, I think, is one thing that makes us slightly different to everybody else, is the fact that we are always doing both.
Yeah, I agree.
And like I've said so many times before, if you've seen a section of an episode that you thought was brilliant and you want to see the entire part of that investigation, you can refer to the live feed for that section and watch the entire 3 or 4 hours of it.
Exactly. I agree completely.
And that makes all the difference. And the fact that everybody, we had teething problems to start off with 18 team members, which has sort of rectified itself. And we're now down to a team that has gelled so well that we would need to be soaked in water for the next 3 weeks to separate us all. You know, we've all glued together so well, and I think it's, you know, I think that's part and parcel of the whole Truth Beyond Paranormal basis. You know, that it all comes together so well.
Yeah, and, I agree completely.
You know, and you can take the approach of saying whether you're a skeptic. Almost said septic then. Oh, I'm septic. Whether you're a skeptic or a believer. Now, I'm coining a new phrase, and that's called a scientific believer. Because I believe in an afterlife. I believe in ghosts and spirit. But I want the scientific proof that they are there, not just the spiritualist medium side of proof that there are spirits there. I would rather find the answers through scientific means. So I'm going to coin the phrase scientific believer because I've experienced it myself to believe. Septic. Joe just said septic peg.
I can tell you for a fact that there is something after death.
Yeah, so Mark is here with us right now. Joe has just said hi, Mark, with a kiss at the end. So Joe is I don't know whether we can get both of us in. Well, you get half of Mark's face and just a floating head from my side. So yeah, hope you enjoy my floating face, guys.
A bit like me the other day with
yeah, where it just went dark and we were like, so all we see is just
my face floating in midair.
Yeah.
But, you know, so the reason why I joined was the fact that it was the idea that we can have all these people from different groups all joining as well. And I think that is, you know, that is one of the main ethos of any paranormal team. You've got to gel together. And the fact that we've got, I think, 6 separate teams with us that can gel together as friends as well as work colleagues to film an episode is something that needs to be admired. And that's why I'm so happy to do what I'm doing, because I'm doing so many other things in my life, and doing this as well is just sort of like top of that ladder for me. Because
that's lovely to hear.
Because we all get on so well, you know. Okay, we have these little times where we might not talk to each other for about 3 or 4 weeks, but soon when we do start talking and we get going and we start discussing what we're going to do next and so on, everything just falls in place, and we're all like family, like our little get-togethers once a year. You know, when we come around here and have a barbecue and whatnot. You know, and I think that's what makes all the difference when you get these people all together and you then start becoming a family. and that's what makes it more important.
I agree completely. And as Mark came in, what did you say? You said, oh, I can give you a clear indication that there is life after death, because this one has.
I can't give you any scientific proof.
No, he can't give you that. But he did die. So this one has a death certificate, which is probably another reason why nothing comes near you, because they're like, no, that one died already. That's weird.
Can I ask how he's got a death certificate?
You can.
Right place, wrong time.
Oh, wrong way.
What happened?
Short story. Got stabbed. Died for a significant amount of time. Enough for.
Oh, hi.
He died for enough time for a death certificate to be issued. So they left you on. So they left you on the slab for about 3 hours.
Yeah, about that.
Well, honestly, I don't really know how long I was lying there when I came back to. It was kind of hard to move for a little while. When I did eventually move, I tried to stand up and then just fell down.
Yeah, I think anything after the 3-minute mark, you're classed as dead.
I was dead for almost 10.
Yeah, because I think usually they say after about 3 or 4 minutes, there's no chance of revival if you've been involved with something like that.
I don't know how to ask this question, so I'm just going to ask it straight up. Did you wake up in a morgue?
No, hadn't quite got to the morgue yet.
He woke up in a coffin with a piece of string, and he had to pull it because he woke up and he had to pull it, and there was a little bell above the coffin outside. They'd actually buried him in the ground, and he went ding, 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 ding.
How many times, like, when I ask this, I'm not, like, I've known Mark a long time, and I knew all of his ex-girlfriends and a lot of his past, where you were definitely not in with the right crowd. But how many times, like, let these 7 viewers, because they didn't like the fact that Mark has been stabbed, obviously. How many times have you actually been stabbed?
5.
5 times.
And how many times have you almost died?
Funnily enough, apart from one, none of them were fatal. But the one that was did the job.
Clearly wasn't your time.
Yeah.
No.
They say that about me as well.
It probably was my time.
You're just some living miracle.
Yeah, apparently I've definitely got someone watching over me because I've been in 4 incidents. Is it 4 or 3? 3. I don't know, something like that. I lost count. Where I should have technically have been killed, and I haven't. So
we can be death buddies.
Yeah, we could. Yep, definitely.
Yeah. My husband.
It's weird. I mean, when you get involved in a road traffic accident where you're driving a coach with no brakes and you drive it into the back of a lorry at 35 miles an hour, the police and the ambulance crew think you're going to be dead, so they turn up with a body bag only to find me standing there smoking a fag and laughing with everybody.
Who does that sound like? This one said, what was it with the car incident? The car was totaled, but I just walked away with a scraped knee.
Yeah, when I wasn't in a car, I was on my bike. I got hit by a car. I flew through the air. Time seemed to slow down. It was actually really cool. Like, I actually watched.
It does.
You've probably seen it in films. You know when you're flying through the air and you sort of you're going forward, and then because you sort of your body goes like that, you actually watch the ground become the sky.
Yeah,
really fucking cool. Sorry, I shouldn't do that.
But they say, don't they? You know, when you're about to die, your life flashes before you. Well, my life must have been pretty crap because everything happened so slowly. My life had to have been quite boring. Because I saw the lorry coming towards me, because obviously the lorry had stopped and I hadn't because the brakes weren't working. And for some unknown reason, I could see the coach, see the bus, the back of the lorry coming, and there was nothing I could do to stop it. You know, I had choices: death, death, or death. So I opted. So I opted for death.
That's not a good choice.
You see, the reason
Exactly. I mean, the thing was I heading up towards Norwich with a football team, and they're all up the back of the bus, and we'd borrowed a vehicle from another company, and this lorry had to stop because a car wanted to turn right at the last minute. So this lorry had put his brakes on for this car. I saw the lorry to put his lights on, so I've put my foot on the brake to slow down, and there was no response. So I'm like, that ain't good. So I've tried to pump the handbrake a little bit and try and pump the normal brakes. I've got the spokesman for the team going, Wayne, brake, Wayne, brake. I said, what do you think I'm doing? So he could see me putting my foot on the brake and trying to get out and go into a lower gear. But it got to a stage where I had three choices. I could either go left and into a load of trees and kill me and the spokesman and maybe another person on the coach, or go right into oncoming traffic and kill whoever's coming the other way, or just opt for taking myself out and steer the lorry, steer the coach into a way so that it just took me out. So I opted just to take myself out. So as the lorry was about so far apart from my window, from my front windscreen, I just closed my eyes and went, goodbye world. Next minute I know, I hear the glass breaking. The front of the coach is disintegrated. And next minute I know, all I can hear is, Wayne, you were right, you were right. I opened up my eyes and I'm still sitting in the seat. I'm like, nothing around me. All the side window, all the front window is gone. That's disappeared.
Your hand pinned under.
The stairwell was just behind me on the left. And my hand's pinned to my leg under the steering wheel. I then switch the engine off, get off the coach, light up a cigarette and say, I'm fine, everybody off. And that was it. And yeah, when the report went through to the police and the ambulance turned up, they both had a body bag with them because they expected me to be dead.
I've got three things to say. One, I had two choices. I chose cake. Two is, I'm just going to answer Joe Mack's question. She said, but Mark, has your life got better since your fatal stabbing? Two answers, Joe. One, it can't really get worse from that point. And two, significantly better, I found this one.
Is that good?
Huh? It's better than death.
It's better than death. Or cake?
You're not quite as good as cake. Depends on what the cake is. And the third thing is a personal question to you, Wayne. When you were at that moment, because I had this as well, if you had the same, when you got to that moment where you knew, because so many people in this world have a genuine fear of death, which is one of the reasons why so many religious people in particular cling to this idea of reincarnation, the afterlife, or just generally something after death. Did you get to that point where you knew it was going to happen and there was bugger all you could do about it, and you just felt this overwhelming sensation of calm? You weren't scared. It was just fact of the matter. It's like, this is it. This is the end. And you just very quickly, in a split second, just accepted it.
I've never been afraid of death. I mean, obviously, when I left school, the first thing I did was join. I worked at Colchester Zoo for a year, and then I joined the Royal Air Force, where there was a good possibility that I could get killed. And I had to accept that would be a possibility. My parents had to accept that could be a possibility. So death has really never bothered me. Plus, also with everything that I've read and watched and looked at in regards to the paranormal, it's never put me in fear of death. I've never been afraid of it. If it's our time to go, it's our time to go. And yeah, when the accident happened, I just closed my eyes and said goodbye, and that was it. I wasn't scared of what was going to happen. I knew it was going to happen regardless. I didn't know what the outcome was going to be. You know, I didn't know whether I'd be paralysed or mutilated and my body parts spread all over the A140. You know, and it didn't bother me. The weird part was it didn't bother me whatsoever. And it's strange now when I look at it, although I look at it now in a different light because obviously I've got Ellen and I've got 4 children.
Yeah, you
now
do see it differently.
I look at it slightly different because I think to myself, if I was to die, I'm going to leave these behind. I can't take them with me. But I'm still not afraid of death. I'm afraid of the repercussions of my death.
Yeah.
It's almost like feeling the grief that others would feel for you.
Yeah. It saddens me to think that if I was to die next week, of what I would lose and what I would leave behind.
Ow.
And as I said to you about a week ago when we were going to bed, you're not allowed to die, because if you do...
I say that to you a lot as well, don't I? I'm like, no, don't die.
Well,
You're ordering me not to die. That is just not fair. Like, come on.
If I die, I promise you, I'm taking you with me.
Oh. I don't know. That was sudden, like, it's hysterics, really, wasn't it? Because I was thinking to myself, like, his face is telling me it is a possibility. Like, this is not a good sign. Help me.
And do you know, the most annoying thing about the whole experience is I feel like I saw so much, but the only thing that I can remember
is waking up.
No. The only thing I can remember is hovering really high up above a tree line.
Okay.
And that's it. But I feel like I saw so much more. There was like a million things that there's like a blank space in my memory, and it's such a hard thing to describe. There's like a blank space in my memory saying you saw like a million things, like you went places, you did some stuff. But the only thing I can remember is being high above a tree line.
You're like, damn it.
And I was nowhere near any bloody trees.
No.
So, yeah. And interestingly enough, we saw that document with that documentary with your mum. And a lot of people that have near-death experiences, a lot of them see the same sort of visions. They see forests, meadows, and as much as I love to always be unique and say, oh no, something different happened to me because I'm special, I saw the same thing. It was all I remember is being really high up above a tree line with loads of like pine trees and greenery, and
maybe it's like a default setting that someone has given us, like, just be happy. Transitioning stage right now.
Windows is restarting.
Yeah, like literally Windows. It's like the Windows desktop.
No, that plays with
it. Please download update.
Yeah, exactly. I do it myself. Know who plays with it?
Who plays with what?
So Ellen, who plays with your hair, and then Ellen said, "I do it myself." And then Joe was like, "No, who plays with it?" Spirit plays with it. Could be Joanne, and Ellen is just like, "Please leave me alone." No.
Yeah, please don't play with my hair.
Please don't play with my hair.
I love my hair being played with.
Maybe that's why whoever's doing it does it.
Do you know what?
You know what? I'm going to let you.
I don't know who it could be in spirit who plays with my hair.
No.
So
Mark will not say the last two, even though he's here. He will not say, "Look, this face is saying nay, nay." He is not going to read out, no matter how many times I ask him and plead with him to say the last two questions of tonight before I sign off. He will not frickin' do it. Like this is his stubborn side coming out. No? No. There you go. He will say it even when we're live in front of only 4 viewers, but so
He won't say it in front of 4 people.
no. What has been your most memorable moment on TBP so far, both of you?
Ruffin.
Crap. Yeah.
Yeah,
Definitely
sorry, Ruffin.
Any particular part of Ruffin?
Jack Fryer.
The Jack Fryer moment where they both
the
found
business with Jack Fryer, and I think also still with I think I'm going to have a joint, not literally a joint first place.
Pass the dookie.
on the left-hand side.
Pass the Dutchie on the left-hand side. We turned it into
that time of the night. It's got to that time of the night.
Yeah, we've turned it into karaoke with Wayne and Sam.
Yeah.
but
yeah,
I'm going to go with joint first place. I'll go with Ruffin because of what happened with Jack, but also with what happened with the low droning noise of the bombers.
Yeah, I agree. That low drone.
I can't dispute not hearing those. There is no way. We all heard the same thing. We all counteracted what the wind was doing. We heard wind and it was a high-pitched tone, and yet the droning noise was a lower pitch, and it was happening at different times to the wind. So Ruffin Control Tower, and I'm also going to go with the Dunwich Beach.
Yeah.
Because to hear those footsteps, as we did, and yet not see a physical presence for those footsteps that was so close to us that we didn't see anybody. And knowing the history of that shoreline, based on what I researched, that to me was pretty amazing. And I think just generally Dunwich itself is quite a strange place to investigate.
I hate to butt in, but your phone's going to die.
Oh, yeah, I'm 11% already.
Which means that I get to say, finally, to end the night, what do you look forward to most about your next episode together?
Just all of us being together again.
Yeah.
After this awful last year that we've had, I think we could all do with some cheering up, and us being.
I'm getting the violin out now.
I was wondering.
Wait, it's okay. I've got one here. I play for you the world's smallest violin.
Ellen's like, well, I'm never coming back to talk to you guys again.
No, do you know what? I will say one thing that I love about what Ellen just said. There's a lot of people that do these projects. It's all about them, isn't it? Well, it's all about we need to do this, we need to do that, we need
viewers, we need more people.
Yeah, we need viewers, we need likes. But I really love the fact that she really hit the nail on the head. What we love, we are people that enjoy experiencing the paranormal and looking for the paranormal.
Just quickly butting in just to say good night, Facebook user. I don't know who you are. I'm sorry.
Yes, good night, Facebook user.
That's Claire.
Good night, Claire.
Good night, Claire. Thank you for watching. Was that my mum? Oh, damn.
Claire Beck.
Oh.
Good night. Time for bed.
Good night, Mum. Yeah, we're going off in a second as well. Thank you for watching all this time, by the way.
So that wasn't a statement, that was a demand.
That was a demand. She's telling me to go to bed. Like, you get yourself to bed.
The thing that I love most about our little group is that it's not about the likes, the views, and all that. We just love doing what we do, and what we love most about it is being together. And that's what I think.
Yeah, I'm gonna agree with Ellen that we've and as I stated earlier, we've all now gelled as one team from different teams. We've all respected each other, and over the last year and a half, 2 years that we've been doing this now, we've all sort of become such good friends now that, you know, TBP family has been created.
Yeah.
And I just, you know, can't wait for all this supposed COVID rubbish to be done and dusted and out the way, so that we can all get back out there again in freedom, to be able to go out and do our investigations again, and continue the live feeds and continue the episodes and just continue the TBP family with the friends on the Facebook group and our lives and everything else. You know,
yeah.
You know, we've done so much in comparison to a lot of teams that have all been set up. They've all had money behind them. So that's helped them get all the locations, and the big stars to be involved with it, because the TV channels are involved. For what we've done in the space of time that we've had, we have done technically a lot more than what these big budget paranormal teams have done. And we've done it from our own pocket.
Yeah. It's very nice as well. Thank you so much, Joe, for saying, and that will also include Adam, Joanne, etc., and all the pets.
Yep.
Thank you so much, because that really, I'm sure that really makes Adam and Joanne feel like they're part of our family as well now as well. So
Adam would definitely be more part of the family if he learned to cook me breakfast.
Yeah, at least
at my house, you have to cook your own here.
Yeah.
I'm going to say goodbye because my back is really starting to play up.
Yeah, we're going to have to call it a night now, guys, I think, anyway, because that was our final thing for tonight. And
so Joe's just made a good point, because you're not in it for the money either. No, we're not.
There you go. I'm posting it out there for everyone to see that. Lovely comment.
I'm going to come out with an admission here. Many years ago, I was a part of a duet, and we used to do cover versions, and it was just me and a friend.
I'm still here. I'm just standing up.
Me and a friend. With keyboards, we were like a weird version of Pet Shop Boys, and we did cover versions. And when I first started doing it, I did it because I enjoyed playing the keyboards. I enjoyed singing. So I would go out there and I wasn't bothered about how much I was getting for it. And it was really weird, because the first gig we did was a charity gig, and we were only supposed to be on for an hour. And then this guy from a group in Paris called Some Other Eden was supposed to be headlining, and he only lasted 10 minutes. Everybody that was there booed him off stage, and we had to go back on and finish the rest of the night off. And you know, and at the end of it, we didn't charge for it, and I pushed for that because it was for charity. And yet the other part of the band, he was like, well, no, we've got to charge something. I said, why? We live in the literally just down the road from the venue that we're doing the gig. We've hardly got any petrol costs, so what's the point? I said, it's for charity, just let it go. And I think that ethos has sort of stuck with me, that what is the point when you can do something for next to nothing? If you can find a location that's only going to cost you £15, why not chip in and pay that £15 each, instead of paying a group £35 to do that same investigation?
Well, you got to think to yourself, I mean, you know, why do we do what we do? It's because we genuinely enjoy doing it. I used to go out nightclubbing with a few friends, and after 10 o'clock, it used to cost £5 to get in here, £10 to get in there.
Yeah.
And you know, what am I actually paying for to get into a venue other than to spend more money on drink? We do this because we enjoy doing it, not because we want global fame or loads of money falling at our door. We do it because we enjoy doing it.
I mean, if we wanted to, I mean, with Haunted Roses Essex Paranormal, you know, we will charge the cost price plus a little bit on top, because it goes to pay for the teas, coffees, snacks, crisps, just about whatever we provide on the night in between vigils. Now, it may only be
There's a shadow on my back.
You know, if we're charged cost price, we'll say ticket price will be £20 rather than 15. But what you're getting out of that is you're also getting the teas and coffees. The teas and coffees in between.
I'm so sorry.
And there is no profit afterwards.
Oh, it's just like what way am I going? That way.
Hello.
She's just like there. It's yeah.
So
I'm not uncomfortable or anything. It's all right, Shadow.
So you know, we'll charge a little bit over. We'll charge a little bit over the cost price, but then that covers all the food and drink. Now, if we were in it for making money, we would say the cost price plus an extra £5, and then charge everybody for tea and coffee once they get inside. But that's not what we're about. You know, we're about wanting people to experience what we experience when we go out on an investigation. And, you know, whereas other teams will go out there and they'll go, right, that's £45. Now they've just made £30 off of that one customer, and they'll have a full event of 30 people. And you're like, right, okay, so now you've got to explain it to the taxman why you've made so much money this year. But what that's doing is that's making money off of people that want to experience something when it's unnecessary. You know, if it only costs you 15 quid, charge £20, you still make something out of it, because that covers all the price of all the foods and the extras that you provide.
Yeah.
And I think that's why you've got Haunted Roses, Essex Paranormal, and Truth Beyond Paranormal have all pretty much run on the same parallel. You know, we want to go out to film an episode. We're quite prepared to put our own hands in our own pockets and chip in and say, right, this is how much we need. There you go. You know, it's like starting up, you know, having like a savings club.
Yeah.
You know, we all turn around to ourselves and say, right, if we all put £5 aside a month, then we can do 3 locations like Dunwich or somewhere like that for free. And then when we've got enough, we can then pay to do a location. It's not necessary to just, you know, sort of try and fleece it off of people like Joe's just said.
Exactly.
Right. On that note, I'm going to get up and leave first because one, I've got a very long day ahead of me tomorrow, and two, I really need to pee.
But, weirdly enough, Ellen, I thought, was getting up to go, but she is actually sort of in a bit of a weird position, bending over a chair.
My back's whinging, and this little bugger. Hold on.
Oh, you can see how bad my kitchen looks.
This little bugger will not move. Yeah, I'm looking at you.
Right.
But in a way, she's kind of in the right spot where the twinges are.
I think that's what cats pick up on. They locate pain, and then they think, I'll make it better, but they don't realise that sitting on it doesn't quite make it better.
Well, she's getting rid of the twinges, so I'm not complaining.
Yes.
Yeah, she's cleaning herself on your back.
I don't care. She's getting rid of the twinges.
You're nuts. You are. You're nuts. But you gorgeous little baby.
Well, she ain't gonna like me now.
Oh, no, she's going careful. I don't know.
What are you doing? I want to stand up.
Really? Wow. Look at that. 2 hours and 46 minutes.
Right,
Yeah.
Shadow.
Which is why I'm going to let these 4 viewers go now, and I'm going to head off to bed myself because as you guys know, I've not been feeling too well myself, so I'm going to get an early-ish night, and we will probably see you again hopefully soon with Wayne doing one of our virtually live haunted episodes as well. So I will let you guys know when that is going to be airing. And we will take things from there, and we will leave tonight on a high note with, is that Shadow?
Yeah.
We'll leave tonight on a high note of her pretending to be a parrot on Ellen's shoulder.
You know what? That was her nickname when we first got her. Shadow the parrot cat, because she used to like sit on Wayne's shoulder. That's a point. Go on, bugger off. Thank you.
Didn't want to stay on my shoulder that time.
Oh.
By the way, that's going in the blooper reel. I've actually got that written down.
Did you say blooper or glooper?
Did I say glooper or blooper? I don't know.
Pick one.
I think I said blooper, but I'm not sure.
Glooper.
I thought you just said blooper reel. I'm like, what?
Damn, I'm more tired than I thought. So that's going in there too. All right, guys. Well, thank you everybody again for watching. If you've watched right until the end, that is amazing of you, and thank you very much. And when you can, if you get a chance to tomorrow, just share it out where you can as well. And we will see you again very soon. And I will let you guys know in the group.
I look a lot more uglier in light. I think I'm more handsome in the dark, don't you think?
Rightio, guys. So that is me, Sam, Mark, Wayne, Ellen, signing off for tonight. And thank you very much to Wayne and Ellen for being part of TVP. And we look forward to seeing what we all get up to in the future together as well. So yeah, thank you very much, guys, for
thank you all
taking part in this tonight. And we will speak to you again real soon with any luck. So see you guys soon.
Bye.
Bye, everybody. Bye. Bye.